Chapter 238. Bei Yunj was speechless. Seeing this, the man's low and hoarse laughter was hopelessly sexy. Yun, what's wrong? Bei Yunj's eyebrows moved. She wanted to stand up, but she tripped over something in the dark and fell back into the man's arms. Bei Yunj seemed to have accidentally poked the man's firm abdomen. She heard him grunt softly, making her blush and her heart race. Brother, Before Bei Yunj could finish explaining, she met the man's eyes. The man leaned against the wooden board. His gaze was frivolous and his eyes were dark. His entire aura was lustful and deadly. However, at this moment, Bei Yunj started to notice the man's Adam's apple through the dark light. But in the next moment, Bei Yunj quickly looked away. Seeing this, the man's lips curled up imperceptibly. Before Bei Yunj could react, he suddenly leaned closer. He lowered his voice and laughed cynically. Where did you touch me just now, little greedy cat? At this moment, Bei Yunj was really about to explode. The next day, Huashidu woke up very early. However, when he was reading the newspaper downstairs and waiting for Bei Yunj to come downstairs to eat, he saw the little girl glance at him and sit down at the table. Thank you, Aunt Meow. After Bei Yunj thanked Aunt Meow, who brought the dishes over, she continued eating. Huashidu did not know how he had offended this child. During the meal, Huashidu scooped the porridge slowly, but his gaze was fixed on Bei Yunj. Yun, I'm full. Brother, eat slowly. Bei Yunj suddenly stood up and smiled at him. With that said, Bei Yunj took her backpack and left. The man tapped his fingertips on the table and thought for a moment. Aunt Meow, what's wrong with Yun? Aunt Meow, aw. Sir, I'm sorry, I'm not too sure about this either. My child had a high fever last night, so I cooked dinner and went home. Huashidu narrowed his eyes. Yes, it's fine. Maybe she's not in a good mood. Sir, you can coax her more. Miss Pei is quite cute. I like her very much too. Auntie Meow smiled. Yes, she's cute. He laughed casually. When a little girl is angry, she's like a cat with its fur standing on end. However, he had a feeling that there was something that made the little girl so unhappy. On this day, the sensation that spread from abroad to within the country shocked everyone. Even the top 3 on the headlines were slaughtered. Hashtag Delaney Group's new technology hashtag country our computing institute, Delaney Group hashtag don't say knowledge can't change fate hashtag in the past, news from the scientific research community rarely made it to the top of the list. But this time, it really shocked everyone. As the most high-end technology group abroad, the Delaney Group had actually signed more than $1 billion worth of technology rights. If converted to their country's currency, it would be 10 billion. Furthermore, the usage period was only 5 years. Even the Delaney Group, which was famous for being stingy, had been ruthlessly squeezed dry. This made the netizens excited. No way, 10 billion. Back then, those who said that they were doing scientific research and didn't earn much came over and counted. How many zeros are there? What a ruthless move. Ha, I heard that she's the new ace member of Country R's Computing Institute. And she's a young lady from our country. Chapter 239. Our country. This is too glorious. To be honest, the only person our country can really produce is Zhong Xinglin. She shouldn't be young anymore. It's a little weird to call her a little sister, I want to argue. Then why didn't she stay in the country? Is the air overseas sweeter? Question, I'm convinced. There's even a contrarian here. Did he lose his mind from chasing celebrities? Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Are you treating the big boss as a popular celebrity? Take care of your street, understand? At the Computing Institute. Old master, look at this news. Is it talking about our master Pei? After interacting with Bai Yunj, Si Qingyan's relationship was quite good. He did not care that Bai Yunj was a few years younger than him. What the hell? Zhong Xinglin put on his glasses and scanned the news. His old face darkened and he started to gnash his teeth. That B** starred really got off easy. F***CK. It's really Master Pei. Si Qingyan was shocked. Zhong Xinglin slapped the back of Si Qingyan's head. New member, new member. In the past 2 years, other than her, has Country R's Computing Institute recruited anyone else? He was heartbroken again. Look at you again. You're also a new member, but you joined our institute a year or 2 earlier. What did you do? She entered the institute for a month and gave Country R's Computing Institute a 10 billion yuan project. She made the headlines and was in the limelight. What about you? Si Qingyan was speechless. Not everyone would be able to get 10 billion in their lifetime, okay? Zhong Xinglin's gaze became even more determined. No, I have to poach her as soon as possible. This was really a mistake of 100 million yuan per second. Not only Zhong Xinglin, even Steven, who was hiding in his office and eating instant noodles, was speechless. Was Marcus's luck exploding? Why was their institute so lucky this year? Qing Zihuai, who had also seen this explosive news, had a dark gaze. Zihuai, what are you thinking about? Qin Youjiao smiled. She had just finished styling herself when she saw the news on Qing Zihuai's phone screen. Qin Youjiao raised an eyebrow and teased deliberately, I wonder how old a female researcher with such achievements is. But I believe that you will be able to do the same in the future. Hearing this, Qing Zihuai did not agree. He was indeed talented, but that was only when compared to ordinary people. The ace member of the Computing Institute of Country R was one of the rarest of geniuses. There was no way she could be compared to her. Zihuai, what's wrong? Why are you so unhappy? Qin Yushao asked with a coy smile. Qing Zihuai snapped back to his senses and shook his head. You know this person too. I know. Qin Youjiao froze. Qing Zihuai clenched his fists and pursed his lips. It's the teacher I wanted to follow before. This is her project. These words surprised Qin Youjiao as well. She had never thought that the teacher Qing Zihuai wanted to follow would have such ability. It was no wonder that Qing Zihuai had been depressed for so long when he did not get this connection back then. However, after seeing this news, Qing Zihuai was probably not in a good mood now. After all, if he had become this person's student back then, the Qing family would have risen because of this person. She's too arrogant. Chapter 240. Qin Youjiao said with a frown. Ranwu Pavilion. Hearing this, no matter how unbalanced Qing Zihuai felt, he knew very well that if that person wanted students, there would indeed be a large number of outstanding students willing to follow her. She's indeed amazing. Qing Zihuai's eyes darkened, but he was thinking about something else. Marcus had told him that this person was also in Yunqing. So, if he found this person, there might be a chance for her to accept him. Zihuai, I believe you'll be like her in the future, Qin Youjiao said with a smile. Hearing this, Qing Zihuai caressed her head and said with a smile, aren't you going to do a live stream? Go do the live stream first. I've already informed a few uncles I know in advance. If there are any resources, I'll push them to you first. Zihuai, you're so good to me. Qin Youjiao said coquettishly. Until Friday. The headline started to be related to the Qin family again. The reason was that Qin Youjiao had accidentally revealed during the live stream that Bai Yunj had chased away Fang Gixing and found another, famous doctor, to operate on old Master Qin. The moment this news came out, many netizens started to scold Bai Yunj for being unfilial. No matter how much she fought with Qin Yojiao, there was no need to take the old master's life lightly. Then, the marketing account of Qin Yojiao's contract company even exposed all sorts of things. They said that Bai Yunj did this for the family assets. Because old master Qin liked Bai Yunj, most of the Qin family's assets were left to Bai Yunj. With this news, more people were filled with righteous indignation. F***ck, old master Qin likes her so much. Is she crazy? My heart aches for old master Qin. If this is true, the Qin family has really attracted an ingrate. Qin Yojiao was scolded so badly a while ago. She's cleared her name now. Isn't it too fast? Indeed, this elder young miss wants to debut. The moment a certain someone debuted, she wanted to trample on another young lady no matter what. I don't know what illness she has. Jealousy. Confused, the two people above, let's earn money together. Back then, Qin Yojiao was the one who apologized and was even scolded. I think the real scheming person is that young lady who has never appeared before, right? Relying on Director Lin to clear her name, I feel bad that Director Lin still has to use her reputation to clean up the mess for some people in her later years. Not long after, more insiders began to reveal the truth. Director Lin's character is impeccable. However, if some people did not want to learn well, it would be useless even if the Daluo Immortal personally taught them. She's the daughter of Director Lin, but she's actually at the bottom of the level. Qin Yojiao is already second in the level. Gradually, the public's impression of Bai Yunj began to decline. In the office. Jiao, the company has already arranged for someone to follow Bai Yunj. When the time comes, we will be able to get a picture of who she invited for the surgery. But, are you sure that she won't hire any experts? The manager asked with a smile. Qin Yojiao drank the black tea and smiled at her. Are you sure that there's someone in the country who's better than Fang Guxing in this aspect? Although she did not know why Fang Guxing had left in anger, this might be because Bai Yunj had played some tricks. That's good. As long as you trample on her, your image as a young lady will be stable. Hearing this, the smile on Qin Yojiao's face froze. The word image had hit her where it hurt. Her eyes darkened as she pursed her lips. The young lady of the Qin family did not need Bai Yunj's existence, she would make this person disappear. Same as the Almighty. Chapter 241. However. Calligraphy Pavilion. More good. What made Qin Yojiao even more uneasy was that she seemed to be the only one in the entire industry who knew that Yu Manran was actually the eldest young lady of the Yu family. At that time, if Yu Manran's identity was exposed, it would probably affect her quite a bit. Sister, do you know Yu Manran? Qin Yojiao asked calmly. Yes. I don't know where she found a composer this year. She became popular with just one song and her popularity is higher than the A-list now. Even they had their sights set on the composer. However, they could not get any information at all. It was said that it was someone Yu Manran knew. Sister, can you find that composer? Qin Yojiao said with a smile, she can bid as much as she wants. I want her to write a song for me. In the evening. When Stephen found out about this, he was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. I'm a pheasant expert. Did you hear that? Did you hear what old Zhong said? F***ck, I'm going to sue those keyboard warriors. Stephen's face flushed red. He had never suffered such grievances in his life. Inspector, calm down. Our institute hasn't earned 1 billion yuan, where would we get so much money to sue? The assistant immediately said gently. Stephen was speechless. If this brat hadn't been with him for so many years, he really wanted to fire him. Miss Pei said that Dr. Fong went to post an explanation. Don't be anxious. When they know who did the surgery, they won't dare to be so impudent. That's true. At this thought, Stephen's mood improved. He laughed coldly. A bunch of ignorant brats. I want to see if they still dare to talk nonsense when they know who they are scolding. Seeing Stephen's noble and cold expression, the assistant's eyelids twitched. Yes, you're right. What happened this time was beyond his expectations. Fong Gishing, who had just gotten off work and was about to have a candlelit dinner with his wife, was shocked. Then, his face darkened. Who was the one who complained that his life was too comfortable? Did they have to drag him out and be mocked by the entire internet? However, not long after. The internet was still in a heated discussion. Following this, Fong Gishing's clarification video became the focus of everyone's attention as soon as it was released. It was crazily viewed and forwarded. Fong Gishing, who was shooting the video, was wearing ordinary clothes. He didn't look too good, but he said a few words politely. He had confirmed that the attending doctor hired by Bai Yunj was indeed more experienced than he was. He hoped that everyone could relax and stop attacking others. However, as the number of views of this video increased, there were actually people who started the momentum. Dr. Fong doesn't look too well, a certain heiress is 666. How could she threaten an innocent doctor? Just look at it. He's very reluctant to shoot a video. Is there anyone else who will wash Bai Yunj's clothes? Dr. Fong, blink when you're being threatened. We support you. Stephen sat in front of the computer and translated the comments one by one. His expression gradually turned ugly. These people really wanted to satisfy their own fantasies. Everything was said according to what they thought. There's no need to be angry, Stephen. They hate me, not you. Bai Yunj smiled lazily. That won't do. What right do they have to criticize you? Stephen was so angry that his face darkened. He might as well. He found the official social media account of Country A that the Our Nation Medical Institute had registered a few years ago. Guru Tong. Chapter 242. Stephen sneered. I'd like to see what else they can make up. After that, Stephen hung up the phone after exchanging a few more words with Bai Yunj. Calligraphy Pavilion more good. She couldn't wait for those stupid humans to open their eyes wide and take a good look at who the pheasant expert they were talking about was. Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched when she was hung up on. She sent a message to her assistant to remind Stephen to board the plane. Not long after. She thought for a moment, opened the social media app, and scrolled through the headlines. She clicked on it and saw that the first post was a video about Dr. Fong. However, just as everyone was scolding Dr. Fong, someone suddenly noticed that a big shot had liked the video. They clicked on the profile picture and found that it was a verified official account. Country R's Medical Research Institute. Everyone. What was going on? Why would Country R's Medical Research Institute like Dr. Fong when they had nothing to do with him? Then, just as they were feeling uneasy, they saw that the official account that had not been updated for a few years suddenly reposted Dr. Fong's clarification post. What was going on? Could it be that the expert Bai Yunj hired was from Country R's Medical Research Institute? Many people couldn't help but gasp when they saw this. However, they were also puzzled. How did Bai Yunj know someone from Country R's Medical Research Institute? Could it be that it was also because of Director Lin? Director Lin's social circle was too wide, wasn't it? Because Country R's Medical Research Institute had publicly reposted the video, Qin Yojiao's team, who was manipulating public opinion, didn't know what to do for a moment. They could only wait and see. At this time, the netizens were also confused. I've checked. Director Stephen of Country R's Medical Research Institute is an expert in this field. He's a world-famous expert. Oh my god, Bai Yunj is too amazing, isn't she? What does this have to do with Bae Yunj? Even if it is, it's director Lin's credit. Don't joke around. Do you believe it? Everyone in the circle knows that Steven's surgery volume is limited in a year. Even if Bae Yunj is booked, it won't be this year. Steven even performed surgery for her family. The Chin family is nothing in the world. Do you understand? The person above is harsh, but it's the truth. Steven's number of surgeries is limited. This year's patients were confirmed in March. Bae Yunj skimmed through these comments and returned to the Computing Institute. Master Pei, quick. Come and take a look at my project. See if there's anything that can be improved. The moment he saw Bae Yunj, Si Qingyan enthusiastically pulled Bae Yunj to his research lab. Brat, stop right there. Zhong Xinglin suddenly appeared and immediately separated the two of them. Take care of your own projects. Don't take shortcuts. With that said, Zhong Xinglin looked at Bae Yunj gently. Yunj, I heard that the contract you signed with Marcus is for 3 months. When Si Qingyan heard this topic, he knew what the old master was up to again. He had not managed to poach her after so long. He even complained that he was hindering him from poaching her. After Si Qingyan left, Bae Yunj smirked. I was in urgent need of money back then, so I signed for 3 months. What about now? Zhong Xinglin asked urgently. Elder Zhong, you can see that Marcus is very good to me, said Lin Feng. Bae Yunj's eyes curved. So, at least for now, I can't think about this. Same as the Almighty. Chapter 243. Bae Yunj's meaning was clear. She was indebted to Marcus for recognizing her worth. Even if she had not promised Marcus that she would stay in their institute in the future, at least she could not decide to come to the Computing Institute at this time. Hearing this, Zhong Xinglin's heart ached even more. What kind of luck did Marcus have? He really met someone like Bae Yunj, who was sentimental about old ties. Yunj, I understand what you mean. But if you choose the Domestic Computing Institute, I sincerely hope that you can choose our Computing Institute first. Zhong Xinglin smiled. Although I might not be able to offer the generous conditions that Marcus offered, it's a private computing institute. If you're willing, I hope you can be my successor. With that said, Bae Yunj's eyelashes fluttered and she looked up at him again. Usually, even if it was a private research institute, it seemed that more people would want their children to inherit it. Just like in her previous life, as a well-known physicist in the industry, Mrs. Pei had also nurtured Bae Yunj in that area, hoping that Bae Yunj would inherit her physics institute. In the end, Bae Yunj secretly opened a computing institute herself. Because of this, Mrs. Pei was so angry that she did not speak to Bae Yunj for a month. Thank you, Elder Zhong. Bae Yunj said with a smile. You don't have to be too stressed. My grandson is indeed studying computing, but his aptitude is average and he can't control the Computing Institute. What I hope more is that the Computing Institute can be passed down and walk towards glory. Zhong Xinglin looked at the long term and focused more on the computing industry in Country A. As for his grandson, he had also left behind a lot of family assets, enough for them to live in peace for the rest of their lives. Saturday. Bae Yunj went to the airport and received her quietly. About 10:30 p.m. A tall middle-aged man with blonde hair and blue eyes came out. Bae Yunj recognized Steven at a glance from the photos online. At the same time, although Steven had just gotten off the plane, he was still refreshed. He said excitedly and happily, "Tisk, let's walk faster. Maybe Yunj is waiting." The assistant was speechless. "She's not your granddaughter. Why are you so happy to see her?" Suddenly, Steven and Selena saw a beautiful young girl walking towards them. Bae Yunj took off her mask, revealing her delicate and beautiful face. She smiled and said, "Stephen, we finally meet." Stephen froze when he heard this familiar voice. This was Yunj. Stephen could not come back to his senses for a long time. He had heard Marcus brag that their Yunj was especially beautiful and did not believe it for a moment. But now, this standard Oriental beauty's face was really hard to find fault with. Especially the bright and beautiful expression between her eyebrows, it was unforgettable. "Yunj, I really didn't expect you to look like this." After a while, Stephen couldn't help but laugh. "Let's go. I'll be a good host and take the two of you to dinner." Yunj chuckled. "Sure. This Yun city is really not bad." Stephen laughed loudly. However, in the corner, a sneaky young man secretly took a picture of Yunj and Stephen walking together. However, what he did not expect was that Yunj did not bring her to the hospital. Instead, they went to a scenic spot to play. He thought for a moment and called Qin Yojiao's manager to tell her about this. "You don't have to let me see it. Just post it online. Just say that Yunj hired a quack overseas and is eating, drinking, and having fun with others. She doesn't take old Master Qin's illness to heart." Chapter 244. This. What if he's not a quack? The young man could not help but hesitate. "Then we have to post it even more." The manager chuckled. "If that person cures old Master Qin, what's the point of posting it? On the other hand, if we do this, more people will think that Yunj is gambling." "I got it." The young man nodded and stopped following Yunj and the rest. "Inspector, Miss Pei, someone followed us and took photos secretly just now." With that said, Stephen, who was eating soup dumplings, almost choked. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" At this moment, Yunj said slowly, "I saw it. It's alright, I'll delete it later." When she said this, those who didn't know would almost think that Yunj was planning to delete her post. Only Stephen vaguely remembered how Yunj made the headlines back then. "There's no need for that." Stephen patted his chest, his expression confident. "Don't worry, leave this to me." Then, Stephen pulled Yunj and his assistant along and took a photo as a souvenir. Soon, he posted it on his social media app and Marcus's phone. Soon, Marcus sent messages crazily. "You went for a meal with Yunj. Are you there? Let me show you Yunj's Computing Institute identity card." Smile, how childish. "Do you think I can be angry?" "Boring." "Ha, I've blocked you. Goodbye, brother." After reading this long string of messages, the corners of Stephen's lips twitched. Wasn't this childish enough? He wasn't angry. In the afternoon. In the ward. "Dad, I've said it before. This isn't a child who grew up in our family after all. We don't know her background." "You're still..." Before Mrs. Qin could finish speaking, she was interrupted by old Master Qin. "If you continue to spout nonsense, I'll get Qin Ting to send you back to your parents' home." These words made Mrs. Qin open her mouth with an ugly expression, but she didn't know what to say. "Are you still worthy of being a mother? You're so righteous even when you talk bad about your daughter. Shameless." Once old Master Qin was angered, he felt dizzy. The nurse beside him quickly comforted old Master Qin, telling him not to get angry. Mrs. Qin pursed her lips and said, "But the news on the internet was also taken by someone else. It can't be that someone deliberately tried to harm her. Who took it? I'll get my lawyer to sue him right now." Upon hearing old Master Qin's words, Mother Qin's face turned green and red. She was speechless. She couldn't hope for Grandpa Xing to come to his senses. "Hey, this person looks familiar," the nurse suddenly said. Mrs. Qin's eyes lit up. "You know him. Who is it? Old Master Chin glanced at Mrs. Chin. Disgust flashed across his eyes, and he closed his eyes impatiently. Let me think. The nurse racked her brains and felt that this person looked very familiar. A few minutes later, Mrs. Chin became a little anxious. She suddenly exclaimed, I remember now. This is Stephen. What Stephen? Mrs. Chin suddenly had a bad premonition. The director of Country R's Medical Institute, Stephen. The nurse looked at old Master Chin enviously. Mr. Stephen rarely takes on surgeries. This year, his surgeries are full. Miss Pei must have put in a lot of effort for you. She's so good to you. She's a filial girl. Upon hearing this, Mrs. Chin's face turned pale and her eyes lost focus. How could this be? How could Bai Yunj invite such a person? Chapter 245. Could it be Director Lin? But how could Director Lin have such a wide network? Look, this is someone who can even step on her own daughter. Old Master Chin laughed coldly. Mrs. Chin wanted to say something but hesitated. In the end, she could only bite her lip with a red face and remain silent. At this moment, a group of netizens who did not know the situation were about to tear into each other. A certain young lady is really interesting to go out and play with an old man at this time. I really feel bad for Director Lin. Even if you blow up your account this time, I still want to scold you. You just can't compare to Qin Yojiao. Don't you know that? Why are you scolding Bai Yunj? A group of people are confused and think that they are righteous. Don't you know how to write the word cyberbullying? This kind of B*TCH should have such extravagance. If you have the ability, blow up my account. The matter was full of twists and turns, and it was getting more and more confusing. However, under the guidance of Qin Yojiao's marketing team, it still went in the direction they wanted. However, it wasn't long before another shocking scene appeared. A few minutes later, Qin Yu, who had been filming overnight for 2 days, immediately reposted that post when he saw it. Qin Yu. Smile. As for Qin Lang, who was training and had his phone confiscated, there was no movement. However, to everyone's surprise, Qin Lang's studio reposted Qin Yu's comment immediately after. Crush Qin Lang's studio. Smile. In less than a minute, the comments exploded. Ha 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 ha, they're here. They're here. They're here with the anger of a sister complex. It's about to start. Is Brother Lang's studio trying to make me laugh to death? Shao sure, I'll protect Brother Lang's sister. Reporting, second sister-in-law's fans have gathered. Reporting, will gather again after third sister-in-law's fans finish eating. Sob sob sob, dog head, I'm speechless. So what if you have a best actor brother and an esports player brother? Are you relying on your fans to clear your name? I'm scared. You have a lot of fans and you're awesome, okay? Entertainers are ruining the country. Entertainers are ruining the country. Qin Yu and Qin Lang had many fans, but more importantly, this matter made people have a bad impression of Bai Yunj. As a result, some of Qin Yu and Qin Lang's fans were still persuading them to delete this post. After all, it was really too much. But who knew? At this moment, a certain group that was usually rarely active suddenly reposted Qin Yu's post as if they had agreed. Research Institute, Zhongxinglin. Smile, Dean of Biology of Yunqing University. Smile, the former principal of Yunqing University. Smile, Professor Yu Guang. Smile, Yunqing University Medical Dean. Smile, our nation's Medical Research Institute. Smile, this scene made one's scalp tingle. Everyone. Did he break through the dimension? What was going on? Was half of the scientific research community mobilized? Soon. Everyone saw that Country R's Medical Research Institute had reposted someone's post. Our nation's Medical Research Institute, our nation's Medical Research Institute, Stephen, my friend and me, picture. At this moment, everyone was shocked. So, the old man who was rumored to be having fun with Bae Yunj was Stephen, the director of the Our Nation's Medical Institute. F***CK. What a deity. DBQ Mr. Stephen, I actually didn't recognize you. Is Bae Yunj a big boss harvester? Chapter 246. Lin Longjun is her grandmother, and Stephen is her friend. The moment something happened to her, half of the scientific research field and two cis-obsessed brothers protected her. I'm so jealous, I'm jealous. Goodbye, I'm starting to understand why Dr. Fong's expression isn't too good. This isn't an expert, but an ancestor. The one who offended him is the ancestor, the biological daughter of the big shots. The little darling of the brothers. Please, Master Pei, write an autobiography of the group's love. The moment Qin Yojiao debuted, Bae Yunj was scolded and became a trending topic, isn't that so? You're trying your best to push Bae Yunj away, but she's really loved by the group. On the internet. The people who had followed the trend to slander Bae Yunj seemed to have disappeared without a trace. On the contrary, only the haters who had started to slander Qin Yojiao were left. In the office. Qin Yojiao's expression was terrible and she wanted to smash her phone. She never thought that this matter would take such an unrealistic turn that was even more unrealistic than a dream. Jiao, this is quite unexpected. But don't worry, the company's public relations are already handling it. Don't worry. The manager was also anxious, but Qin Yojiao had just signed with their company, so it was not good for her to act like she was flustered. Thank you, sister. Qin Yojiao's expression improved slightly. At least, she still had a company behind her now, so she would not be too outnumbered. At the whole corporation. Tsing-Su, apart from telling you about the parent-teacher conference last time, what else did Yunyun say? Huashidu thought of how the little girl was throwing a tantrum and asked casually. I think so. With that said, Tsing-Su saw that his Master Du seemed to be thinking about something. Master Du, did you have a fight with Miss Pei? Huashidu glanced at him and did not say anything. This situation made it difficult for Tsing-Su to understand. However, Tsing-Su suddenly remembered what had happened in the past 2 days. Master Du, have you seen the recent headlines? What's wrong? Huashidu looked up and asked. It's that Miss Pei was maliciously slandered. However, the two young masters of the Qin family and some seniors in the scientific research field are very protective of Miss Pei. Currently, this matter has been resolved. Tsing-Su couldn't help but exclaim when he thought of the melon he had eaten. Especially the phrase, Big Boss Harvester, it was simply very popular. Aside from the big shots they knew, if anyone else found out that this little princess was living in the home of the president of the whole corporation, they would probably have a mental breakdown. Malicious. Huashidu's pale-colored eyes gradually turned cold and deep. There was an unfathomable danger in them. It's the tricks of the entertainment industry. The other Miss Qin of the Qin family has signed with an entertainment company. I'm guessing that the entertainment company is personally involved. After Tsing-Su finished speaking, he added carefully, Master Du, do you need me to show my face? Next time. This would also prevent those people from thinking that Miss Pei had no one backing her. There's no need. Huashidu narrowed his eyes nonchalantly. His deep voice was emotionless. You caused trouble for my child. How can there be a second chance? Hearing this, Tsing-Su immediately understood. Master Du didn't intend to let that company continue to operate. Tsing-Su, okay. When he returned, Washidu saw the young lady quickly greeting him and going upstairs. He didn't even look up when he was eating. The next day, Bei Yunj had just gone downstairs when she saw Yu Hanran and Washidu sitting together. Before she could leave, she heard the man say, "Yun Yun." Chapter 247. At this moment, Yu Hanran also noticed Bei Yunj. He had a teasing look in his eyes, wanting to see how this couple interacted every day. From Washidu's casual question, the two of them seemed to be quarreling. "What's wrong?" Bei Yunj turned around and looked at him with curved eyes. "Come here." Hearing this, Bei Yunj glanced at him and then glanced at Yu Hanran, who was waiting for a good show. She walked towards Washidu. When Washidu saw this, the corners of his lips curled up slightly. He stood up and narrowed his eyes casually. He held her wrist with one hand and took off the rubber band. "It's too hot outside." With that said, Washidu stood in front of the girl and reached out. His slender and well-defined fingers gently lifted her curly hair and slowly tied it up for the girl. This scene made the smile on Yu Hanran's face freeze. Wait a minute. Shouldn't they be quarreling? Why did he let him see such a scene? After tying her ponytail, Bei Yunj glanced at Washidu. Actually, she had long lost her temper. "I'm going to the hospital. I'll be back later." Bei Yunj touched her hair. "Okay." Washidu curled his lips and reached out to rub her jawline. Yu Hanran was speechless. "Hey, guys, am I invisible?" In the morning, Stephen was undergoing surgery. Almost 4 hours later, the door to the operating theater opened. The surgery was very successful. Old Master will be fine after resting well. The other doctor smiled and could not help but say to Bei Yunj, "It's all thanks to Miss Pei that I have the chance to share the stage with Mr. Stephen." "You must be joking." Bei Yunj smiled. However, in the eyes of the Qin couple, this scene caused them to have complicated feelings. They had always felt that Bei Yunj was a loner and had no friends. They did not expect her to be friends with Stephen. They did not know how they got to know each other. It's been hard on you this time." Mr. Qin stepped forward and said gently. Bei Yunj's tone was indifferent. "It's my duty." The smile on Mr. Qin's face froze. Of course, he knew that Bei Yunj was so attentive because of Old Master Li, otherwise, if it were him or Mother Qin, Bei Yunj probably wouldn't even look at them. Mr. Qin's eyes darkened. "You and Jiao Jiao, Yunj, isn't it time to go eat?" Stephen's voice sounded. Bei Yunj turned around and saw that Stephen was still in good spirits. She smiled and said, "Well, I have a friend later. Do you mind?" "What's there to mind?" Stephen said and went to change his clothes. The two of them chatted in a familiar tone, as if they were old friends. However, the age difference was a little too big. "Mr. Qin, if there's nothing else, I'll go back first." Mr. Qin reacted and quickly nodded. "Okay. Be careful, go." Next. Even after Bei Yunj left, Mr. Qin's expression was still gloomy. Mrs. Qin stepped forward and said angrily, "Didn't I ask you to tell her to put in a good word for Jiao Jiao?" Hearing this, Mr. Qin felt annoyed for no reason. Gu is the one who suffers every time. Why must she listen to me? With that said, Mrs. Qin was stunned for a moment. She could not imagine that these words would come from his mouth. "Qin Ting, what do you mean? Bei Yunj is your daughter, but Jiao Jiao isn't." Mrs. Qin suddenly became agitated. "She's my daughter to begin with." Mr. Qin reprimanded angrily. Chapter 248. Mrs. Qin's eyes widened as she stared at Mr. Qin in disbelief. "All right, you don't want Zhao Zhao anymore. Mr. Qin was furious. Look at what Zhao Zhao has become. She didn't do it on purpose the first time, but what about the second and third time? Every time something happens to Goober, it's related to her. How can I believe her? With that said, suddenly, the sound of something falling to the ground sounded not far away. Mr. and Mrs. Qin turned around and saw Qin Youjiao looking at Mr. Qin in disbelief and grievance with red eyes. At this moment, Mr. Qin panicked inexplicably. After all, this was the child he had doted on for almost 20 years. Jiao Jiao, Qin Youjiao turned around and ran away with red eyes. It's all your fault. How can Bei Yunj compare to Jiao Jiao? Why are all of you slowly standing on her side? Mrs. Qin's heart ached. Looking at the thermos box that had fallen to the ground, she immediately went forward to pick it up. Jiao Jiao is a filial child. If she hears what you said, she will definitely be very sad. Mrs. Qin panicked as well. For a moment, Mr. Qin felt complicated and guilty. He could only turn his face away and pinch the space between his eyebrows tiredly. How could he not want to have a happy family? However, it just so happened that he had carried the wrong child back then. Now, facing his two daughters, he did not know what to do. At noon, Chu Zhixing stood at the entrance of the hospital and waited, feeling inexplicably nervous. Until Bei Yunj's voice sounded. Xiao Chu. Chu Zhixing turned around and saw Bei Yunj walking over alone. Yunj, how's Grandpa Qin? The surgery was very successful. However, Bei Yunj was a little surprised that Chu Zhixing's first concern was her grandfather. She thought that this fellow should be more concerned about Country R's medical institute. That's good. Chu Zhixing heaved a sigh of relief and nodded. Oh right, who is the person you said you like from Country R's medical institute? Bei Yunj asked again. Hearing this, Chu Zhixing became even more nervous. Mr. Stephen. Bei Yunj was speechless. At this moment, Chu Zhixing suddenly remembered what had happened on the internet yesterday. His eyelids twitched and he took a deep breath calmly. Yunj, you said last time that you would help me talk about the application form. Don't tell me you're planning to look for Mr. Stephen. Yes, I only know him. Bei Yunj nodded without hiding anything. Seeing the complicated and regretful expression on Chu Zhixing's face, Bei Yunj couldn't help but smile. She glanced at her watch and then glanced at the elevator. Coincidentally, she saw Marcus change his clothes and come down. Suddenly, Chu Zhixing, who was in the midst of grief, heard an inexplicably familiar voice. Yunj, can we go to the supermarket later? Your country's instant noodles are really delicious. Stephen said happily. Chu Zhixing raised his head abruptly and saw the person he used to admire the most. This didn't seem to match the character he had in mind. Wasn't Mr. Stephen dressed in a suit and leather shoes every time he attended a meeting? Wasn't he cold and elegant? Although he wasn't very good at Country R's language, he understood the phrase, buy instant noodles. Okay, I'll send you a few boxes when the time comes. Bei Yunj didn't care much and suddenly said, oh right, this is my friend, Chu Zhixing. Mr. Stephen. Bei Yunj looked at Chu Zhixing and said concisely. After Chu Zhixing felt his idol's gaze, his body stiffened and he became nervous. Chapter 249. Hello, student Chu Zhixing. Stephen smiled, not putting on any airs on stage at all. However, for some reason, it made people want to get closer to him. Hello, Stephen was actually not a difficult person to get along with. However, Chu Zhixing's foreign language skills were not very good, so it was a little difficult for the two of them to communicate. However, after dinner, Stephen realized that the boy Bei Yunj brought was very talented in medicine. This made Stephen suddenly feel that Chu Zhixing was an unexpected surprise for him to come to Yunqing. You signed up for our summer camp. Stephen could not help but laugh. Why don't you consider studying in country R? When the time comes, you can come into contact with our research institute earlier. Hearing this, Chu Zhixing almost dropped his chopsticks. Really, can I really do that? One had to know that the interns recruited by Country R's medical institute were all postgraduate students. Last time, the medicine Yunj asked me to make should be for you, right? Stephen chuckled. Since you're Yunj's friend, there aren't so many rules. Hearing this, Chu Zhixing was stunned for a moment before he realized that his medicine was made by Stephen, instantly. Chu Zhixing looked at the girl beside him, who was eating with her head buried in her food. His heart seemed to have been brushed by water. On this day, Qin Yu, who had just applied for leave from the director and was about to go to Bei Yunja's parent-teacher conference, suddenly received a call. Have you been home recently? The man's low and calm voice was very pleasant to the ears. However, Qin Yu was inexplicably vigilant. He laughed. I'll be back in a few days. Brother, what happened? Nothing. I prepared some gifts for everyone. The handsome man in the suite hid the coldness in the depths of his dark eyes. It was only when he thought of something that a hint of gentleness appeared. By the way, how's Gu? Hearing Qin Luyan ask about Bei Yunj the moment he came up, Qin Yu was alarmed. In the past, when eldest brother went abroad, he had never cared about Gu. Even Qin Yojiao was the same. She's pretty good. Qin Yu thought for a moment and repeated what had happened at home. When Qin Luyan heard that Qin Yojiao had been sent to stay with Mr. and Mrs. Qin by Qin Lang, his emotions did not fluctuate much. However, when he heard Qin Yu say that Bei Yunj had also gone out to stay, his eyes immediately darkened. She went out to stay. Where did a little girl like her go to live? Hearing his brother's voice darken, Qin Yu didn't dare to tell him that Gu was staying at his friend's house. Don't worry, it's someone I know. Some time ago, old master also saw him. There's no problem. Qin Yu leaned against the chair and chuckled. When Qin Luyan heard that, he remained silent for a while before saying unhurriedly, then it's not appropriate for our Qin family's young lady to live outside. I'll deal with this matter when I get back. Just focus on filming. After that, Qin Luyan hung up the phone. However, Qin Yu inexplicably felt that something was wrong. Big brother, this ice block, when would he start to care for Gu more? Didn't he not even ask about his parents? Qin Yu did not know what Qin Luyan meant by calling either. However, he knew that there would indeed be trouble with Qin Luyan's return. Qin Yojiao knew that he and Qin Lang would ignore her and would definitely think of ways to make eldest brother stand on her side. If that was the case, it would be troublesome. Chapter 250. Then wouldn't Qin Yojiao have found a backer? Qin Yu pursed his lips, feeling that this matter might become troublesome. At the same time, Mrs. Qin also held Qin Yojiao's hand happily. Jiao Jiao, your older brother is coming back. You've suffered during this period of time. When eldest brother comes back, he will definitely help you. Eldest brother is coming back. Qin Yojiao's eyes lit up and she looked up at Mrs. Qin. She had finally waited for eldest brother to return. One had to know that the true person in charge of the Qin family was still eldest brother. Second brother and third brother had no interest in business. For so many years, eldest brother had been the one managing the Qin group alone. Yes, if you have any grievances, tell eldest brother. Mrs. Qin could not help but laugh. Your eldest brother looks cold to everyone. But Jiao Jiao, you know very well that eldest brother will grant your every request. A strange glint flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes and she tugged at Mrs. Qin and said coquettishly, "So, I like eldest brother the most." After what she did to Bai Yunj this time, Mr. Qin had already started to suspect her. Fortunately, when Mr. Qin saw her run out crying, he had already dispelled his suspicions and even felt guilty. In the evening, the moment Bai Yunj returned, she saw the man sitting on the sofa. "Brother." Bai Yunj called out and was about to go upstairs to take a shower. "Who knew?" The man put out the cigarette casually and suddenly looked up, saying slowly, "Yun, older brother has something to discuss with you." However, Bai Yunj looked at the handsome and dignified man in front of her and remembered how this man had looked when he was bursting with desire last time. "What's wrong?" Bai Yunj still walked towards him, deliberately not looking into his eyes. "Why were you angry last time?" Huashidu's gaze landed on Bai Yunj unwaveringly. His tone was casual as he dragged out his words. "Did older brother bully you?" These words were clearly very normal. However, when he said this, it inexplicably became ambiguous and made her face turn red. Bai Yunj thought of what this man had said to her in the closet and smiled. "Yes. Older brother, you're very good at bullying people." At this moment, Huashidu didn't think about anything else. After all, he had drunk too much in the past and did not have the habit of touching girls. "Then let me apologize to you. Yun, don't take it to heart, okay?" Huashidu's thin red lips curled up and he bent down to look at her at eye level. His tone was natural and intimate as he coaxed her. This man had always been very good to her and even took special care of her feelings. But for some reason, Bai Yunj was not very happy when she saw that this man could not remember anything at all. "Were you drunk last time? What happened?" Bai Yunj asked. That night, when she was drying Huashidu's hair, she felt that his body was cold. Those who didn't know better would think that he had taken a cold shower. The corners of Huashidu's lips curled up slightly. His posture was lazy and frivolous. He reached out carelessly and gently rubbed her cheek. "Yes, big brother accidentally drank a little. Are you in a bad mood?" Bai Yunj glanced at him and an indescribable feeling rose in her heart. In her heart, this man was what others called a flower on top of a mountain. He would get whatever he wanted. How could he not be happy? "That's not the reason, but I'm indeed not too happy." Huashidu's low and magnetic laughter flowed out as his throat moved. The next moment, he scratched the girl's chin again. "But next time, older brother will come back earlier." Chapter 251. The man's pale-colored and abstinent eyes turned gentle. His seductive low voice could easily tickle one's eardrums. "Brother will be happy when he looks at Yun. Wasn't this man apologizing just now?" Huashidu's eyes darkened when he saw the little girl's bright black eyes staring at him with an inexplicable emotion. Then, he let out a long laugh. His deep and magnetic voice seemed to be deliberately seductive. "Yun, don't look at me like that. Brother can't handle it." Bai Yunj, the next time this man drank, she would definitely record it. She would let him see clearly who was the one who couldn't handle it. Seeing that Bai Yunj's expression was awkward again, Huashidu said, "Then I'll promise Yun one thing." "How about that?" "I don't want to go to school anymore." Bai Yunj said this almost without thinking. Who would have thought? Huashidu looked at her for a while and only laughed. His posture was seductive and ostentatious. "Sure, then Yun will come over early and manage the company for brother." Bai Yunj, ? Was this what a qualified domineering CEO would say? Bai Yunj's beautiful eyes twitched. "What about you?" "Brother, just serve our Yun." The man casually played with the silver lighter on his phone. His low and magnetic laughter was light and lazy. His gaze was straight and lustful. It made one's heart beat wildly. Bei Yunj, he was no longer treating her as a younger sister. It was more like he was raising her as a daughter. Be obedient. Come down and do your homework later. Brother will teach you, he said. Bei Yunj was about to scold him in her heart when she suddenly felt the man's half-smiling gaze. Brother, weren't you apologizing to me just now? Bei Yunj asked. Why did it become him supervising her homework in the end? Yes, I forgot to ask Yunyun, how did I bully you? Huashidu remembered that when he drank too much in the past, he would at most go to bed early. For a moment, Bei Yunj was a little silent. When Huashidu saw this, he suddenly sensed the little girl's abnormality. Huashidu's throat bobbed. Yunyun, brother took away my pen the moment he saw me. Bei Yunj glanced at him. Because of this? The man licked his thin red lips. His low and hoarse laughter was sexy and pleasing to the ear. He was a little surprised that he would do something like this in his unconscious state. He was also surprised that Bei Yunj had argued with him for so long because of this. Looking at the man's calm expression, Bei Yunj suddenly laughed. Her clear eyes looked harmless. I asked my brother if he could lift up his shirt and show it to me. My brother said that he would only show it to me when we entered the room. Huashidu felt that these words did not sound like something he would say, but the young lady had indeed been awkward for 2 days. The man looked at Bei Yunj and thought. Brother, don't tell me you've forgotten everything you've done. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and said with a smile. Suddenly, Huashidu laughed again. His dark and unreadable gaze landed on her. Then does Yunyun still want to see it? Bei Yunj's smile froze. Question mark. It's okay. Although Yunyun's preferences are special, it's quite embarrassing. Huashidu casually threw the silver lighter on the sofa, not caring much. Brother. Bei Yunj suddenly had a bad feeling. Then, before Bei Yunj could speak, the man had already taken off his tie. His lazy and playful voice was frivolous and straightforward. Chapter 252. There's no need to explain. I'll try my best to satisfy Yunyun. She had never seen the man's figure, but the last time in the wardrobe, it felt firm and hard. However, when the man was wearing a shirt, it did not show and only made people feel that he was refined and dignified. Brother. Bei Yunj grabbed the man's cold hand and looked up. Should I do my homework? I think so. The man's pale-colored eyes could not hide the smile in them. I'll go take a shower first and go downstairs to do my homework. With that said, Bei Yunj immediately went upstairs. Seeing this, the man chuckled. His upturned eyes were charming and his posture was light and lazy. The little girl was so easily angered. How could she let him lift his shirt? Ever since she knew that Qin Luyan was coming back, Qin Youjiao seemed to have become bolder. In the live stream, when Qin Youjiao was chatting with a small celebrity she had just met, she inadvertently led the small celebrity to talk about Bei Yunj. It caused a lot of discussion. However, at the same time, the entire internet was very interested in Bei Yunj, who had never appeared before. After being talked about for so long, she was either scared or too lazy to care. No one thought that Bei Yunj would be the former. However, everyone felt that if Bei Yunj appeared in the public eye, the scene would definitely be exciting and fresh. Before the crowd could calm down, they saw someone coming down personally to tear Qin Youjiao apart. You man ran, your father Pei is a brick. He will move wherever he is needed. Heartbroken, with this post, many netizens discussed fervently. Ha 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 ha. Sister man, what's wrong with you? Do you know Bei Yunj? Daddy Pei. Sister man, are you still the big boss of the industry I know? Work harder, you're number one. Dog head, no wonder artistes can never be seen in public. They like to suck up to rich people? Let me take a look. Which sour chicken is this again? Can't you stand properly on the streets? You're being blind again. Everyone in the industry understood this kind of hype. Qin Yu naturally knew that once he replied, he would be trying to gain popularity for Qin Youjiao. If he didn't reply, she would think that he had acquiesced to Qin Youjiao's relationship. Therefore, at the end of the month, Qin Yu had sent lawyers' letters to nearly 30 netizens, including the small celebrity who had Bei Yunj in the live stream. This move shocked everyone. After all, when Qin Yu had just entered the industry, there had been a huge commotion, but she had never seen him send a lawyer's letter in a stack, as expected of Qin Yu, the crazy sister control maniac. Seeing these dozens of lawyers' letters and Yu Man ran publicly attacking her, Qin Youjiao was so angry that her face turned green. However, what surprised Qin Youjiao even more was that she received a call from her manager. Jiao Jiao, there's a problem with our company. We're having a hard time with cash flow, and we're being held back by someone. We might not be able to last for more than 2 months. Hearing this, Qin Youjiao's face paled. What? Qin Youjiao clenched her fists tightly. If this news got out, she would definitely be the first to be laughed at. When she signed with her second brother's studio back then, she had been eliminated in the first round. Now that she had finally signed with a good company, such a thing actually happened. Why did this happen? Qin Youjiao took a deep breath. Her manager was also very busy. I think I offended someone. Jiao Jiao, do you know the whole corporation? In an instant, Qin Youjiao's face paled. Her mind was in a mess and she couldn't hear what her manager was saying at all. Jiao Jiao, are you listening to me? Chapter 253. Others did not know why the company had offended the whole corporation. But Qin Youjiao knew it clearly. It was all because of that man. Qin Youjiao's eyes widened as she gritted her teeth, feeling extremely indignant. How could this be? That man was already willing to do this for Bei Yunj. Time passed and it was Friday for the parent-teacher conference. Most of the students in Class 1 and Class 2 were refreshed. On the other hand, the usually arrogant and domineering Class 7 was strangely quiet. Deskmate, who's attending your parent-teacher conference this time? Lu Yuanxi and Bei Yunj went outside to get some water. My brother. Bei Yunj narrowed her eyes. She had only mentioned this to Washidu casually once and did not know if he remembered. Back then, she had only wanted to suppress her grades and had forgotten that she might be scolded at the parent-teacher conference. I see. Lu Yuanxi did not ask further. The moment he thought of Qin Yu's guard against him, his scalp turned numb. The older brothers of the Qin family were each more impressive than the other. At this moment, Mr. and Mrs. Qin had arrived a long time ago and many parents of students came forward to greet them. After all, this was the Qin family in Yunqing. I'm going to attend the parent-teacher conference for Gu. You can attend it for Jiao Jiao. Hearing this, Mrs. Qin's expression changed immediately. Did you agree to attend the parent-teacher conference today to attend it for her? Mr. Qin, whose thoughts had been exposed, looked embarrassed. But Qin Yu has work and I don't know when Qin Lang will come. Then what did you promise Jiao Jiao? Mrs. Qin refused to let it go. Have you forgotten how Jiao Jiao cried in front of you last time? What will Jiao Jiao think if you attend her parent-teacher conference this time? With that said, Mr. Qin's expression did not look too good. Right now, Bei Yunj, who was wandering around the school, was still thinking about whether she should get Si Qingyan to help. Soon. Coincidentally, Bei Yunj happened to be walking towards Mr. and Mrs. Qin. Mr. Qin was stunned for a moment. Bei Yunj glanced at them and prepared to leave as if she did not see them. Go. Mr. Chin subconsciously shouted. Mrs. Chin, who was beside him, pulled him back and could not help but ask, "Are you crazy?" Chin Ji Ai didn't know when it started, but every time Chin Ji Ai's father was alone, his mind would wander off and he would mention Bai Yunj. What's the matter? Bai Yunj glanced sideways at him. Did anyone attend the parent-teacher conference for you? Dad can. Thank you, Mr. Chin. Someone will come. Bai Yunj smiled. Her bright eyes were lazy and beautiful. There was no deliberate estrangement, nor was there any friendliness. It was as if they were strangers who could greet each other when they met. This feeling was like a blunt knife cutting into Father Chin's heart. It was a bloody pain. Oh, I see, Mr. Chin stiffened and nodded. All right. If Gu needs anything, you can look for me. Thank you, Mr. Chin. Bai Yunj smirked and her eyes happened to glance at Chin Yojiao, who was walking over, before she turned around and left. After Bai Yunj left, Chin Yojiao went forward and held Mrs. Chin and Mr. Chin's arms. Dad, Mom, what are you doing? Chin Yojiao pretended not to see Bai Yunj and was in high spirits. It's nothing. I met someone I know just now and chatted for a while. Mrs. Chin smiled and accompanied Chin Yojiao to class. Many people saw the scene of this family of three and couldn't help but discuss it. Mrs. Chin and Mr. Chin only attend the parent-teacher conference for Chin Yojiao. Chapter 254. Someone could not help asking, then Bai Yunja's parent-teacher conference will also be held by Brother Chin. Right? After all, the one he brought back from outside can't compare to the one he has always doted on. Besides, any normal person would want to hold Chin Yojiao's and Bai Yunja's parent-teacher conference. The difference in results was too big. One was second in the cohort and the other was 28th from the bottom. Compared to him, it was really embarrassing. Besides, Bai Yunj was personally raised by Director Lin, but her results were only a so-so. Now that you mention it, I still feel that Bai Yunja's status is not legitimate. How prestigious can it be for her brother to hold it? The girl who was discussing shook her head. So what if she's not legitimate? Didn't we work so hard to get into Yunqing University? Once something happened to Master Pei, the teachers of Yunqing University almost became her support group. Another person who was chewing on an apple sighed. Forget it, let's not worry about it. Hearing this, the girl immediately retorted, isn't it because of Director Lin? But it's impossible for Bai Yunj to get into Yun University because of Director Lin. In the office. Bai Yunj had just passed by when she saw a familiar figure. It was her first time seeing Qin Lang appear so formally in a suit and leather shoes. Besides, he appeared beside her form teacher. Bai Yunj sized up Qin Lang and saw that he was a little nervous but was pretending to be calm. Third brother is here for your parent-teacher conference. Don't worry, third brother won't embarrass you. Where did this news leak out? Bai Yunj happened to see the form teacher, who was a little guilty, from the corner of her eye and raised an eyebrow. Come. Student Pei, bring your third brother to the classroom. Bai Yunj never thought that she would have a parent-teacher conference group and two indecent brothers who would count down to the parent-teacher conference in the group every day. Bai Yunj's lips moved. Actually, I've already. Someone came to the parent-teacher conference. Suddenly, Qin Lang heard a commotion and had a bad feeling. Then, he turned his head and saw someone who shouldn't be there. Qin Yu, why are you here? Bai Yunj froze. Even though the class teacher had seen the world, this was the first time she had seen parents of students with poor grades rushing to attend a parent-teacher conference. Moreover, they were parents who had a full schedule. I took a few days off and dyed my hair back while I was at it. Gu's parent-teacher conference, and having blue hair is not good for her image. Qin Yu smiled slightly and glanced at Qin Lang's iconic silver hair. The homeroom teacher closed his eyes in exhaustion. It's starting again. They're starting to talk to each other again. Every day after work, during his free time, he could almost always see the content of these two in Bei Yunja's parents' group chat. They didn't look like brothers at all. They looked more like enemies who were vying for favor and love. Qin Yu, what do you mean? Is there anyone with silver hair more handsome than me? Qin Lang was enraged. The two of them looked like they were about to start a fight in public. Seeing this, Bei Yunja's eyelids twitched. Suddenly. Qin Yojiao's cheerful voice sounded from the end of the long corridor in the distance. Brother, why are you here? In an instant. Qin Lang and Qin Yu stopped fighting and both of them looked at the noble man who was wearing an exquisite black suit and whose eyes were as dark as ink. Chapter 255. Qin Luyan buttoned his sleeves slowly and ignored Qin Yojiao. This made Qin Yojiao's expression freeze. Brother, my class is here. Qin Yojiao said coquettishly, didn't you say that you brought us gifts? Hearing this, Qin Luyan's eyes landed on her and he suddenly snorted. His low and magnetic voice was inexplicably cold. I brought you a gift. You'll know when you get back. With that said, Qin Luyan glanced sideways and did not look at Qin Yojiao again. Brother, thank you. Before Qin Yojiao could show a bright smile, she saw Qin Luyan walking towards Class 7. This scene. Not only Qin Yojiao, even the others could not help but stare fixedly at him. It had to be said that the three older brothers of the Qin family were all very handsome, but eldest brother's aura was outstanding and gave people an unreachable feeling. Only one word appeared in everyone's minds. Unapproachable. I'm sorry, Teacher Wen. I'm late. Gu's parent-teacher conference hasn't started yet, right? Qin Luyan said slowly. With that said, the form teacher froze. Qin Yu and Qin Lang turned their heads instinctively and looked at Qin Luyan in disbelief. What was going on with eldest brother? Didn't he hate such meetings the most? Did someone call him for Gu's parent-teacher conference? Brother, I came to the parent-teacher conference first. Qin Lang said unhappily. Before Qin Yu could finish speaking, he and Qin Lang felt a threat in Qin Luyan's lazy gaze. Qin Yu and Qin Lang were speechless. Was there a need? Were they biological brothers? Why did he have to fight with them for a parent-teacher conference? At this moment, the atmosphere was awkward. In the next second, Bei Yunja's phone vibrated. She opened her phone and saw that it was a message from Huashidu. I'm almost there. Bei Yunja's pretty eyes moved. How could this situation continue to develop? Deskmate, you're good. Qin Yojiao called 2 over and you're missing 1, Lu Yunc teased softly beside her. Bei Yunj smiled at him. There are 4. Lu Yunc was speechless. It was his first time seeing such a big commotion at the parent-teacher conference. It was not only Class 7, even the students from the class next door were discussing it. *CK, I thought that Qin Yojiao asked her parents to attend the parent-teacher conference was to show off that she was a legitimate daughter. Now that I look at it, I feel like Bei Yunj has a heavenly group standing beside her. Someone could not help but mock her. I'm going to die of laughter for Qin Yojiao too. She's so flirtatious online, yet she's still pretending to be innocent. Now, no matter how bad Bei Yunja's results are, there are people fighting to attend her parent-teacher conference. Logically speaking, Bei Yunj has only been back for 2 to 3 years. Why do the Qin brothers like her so much? Is hers s? Hearing these discussions, Qin Yojiao's face paled and her eyes were filled with hatred as she looked at Bei Yunj. Her fingers were clenched so tightly that they turned white. Bei Yunj, Bei Yunj. Everywhere, Bei Yunj was slapping her in the face. A dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes. At last, the form teacher went to another class and asked for a few chairs, so that these three big shots could sit down. In Class 7's classroom, a group of girls was outside the window. When they saw Qin Luyen and the rest sitting in a row, they almost screamed. These were male idols. All of them were popular male idols. Chapter 256. Even the parents looked at Qin Luyen from time to time. Qin Luyen and the other two were used to it and felt like they were basking in the spring breeze. However, Bei Yunj, who was sitting at the side, felt a little complicated. Especially at this moment, Lu Yuanxi was even giving her an encouraging look. Bei Yunj was speechless. Who would be willing to bring a group of people to watch when they failed all the tests? However, other than Bei Yunj, the three brothers of the Qin family were in a good mood at this parent-teacher conference. Her foreign language score is very high, 87 marks. Qin Lang started to boast. In time, our Gu can even be a translator. With that said, the parent, who had reprimanded her child because she only scored 100 marks for her foreign language, almost spat out a mouthful of water. With this standard, she could be a translator. Are you dreaming? Then, Qin Yu did not want to be outdone. He picked up Bei Yunj's Chinese paper. Her's Chinese results are quite good too. Her ancient poems are all correct. Oh right, second brother wants to release a national song next time. How about Gu write the lyrics for second brother? The parents beside him could not stand it anymore. Wasn't he King pampering her too much? He could boast about 70 to 80 marks. At this moment, only a few students whose results were about the same as Bei Yunj's looked at her in admiration and even gave her a thumbs up. As expected of Bei Yunj, the brothers at home were each more amazing than the other. Bei Yunj's bright and arrogant eyes darkened visibly as she resisted the urge to walk out. This scene made Lu Yuanxi lie on the table, but he could not help but cover his abdomen with one hand as he suppressed his laughter. Not long after, the short class meeting was finally over, and the parents all walked towards the conference hall. Don't worry. Even if our girl scores 0, it's not a big deal, Qin Yu said. Bei Yunj glanced at the time and felt that Huashidu might be coming. Actually, Bei Yunj looked up at Qin Yu. I've already asked Brother Shidu to help me with the parent-teacher conference. He's here too. Qin Yu was stunned. Bei Yunj, yes. Qin Yu thought for a while. It's fine. Then the 5 of us will sit in a row. Bei Yunj, forget it, Hingda's conference hall was indeed very big. A few minutes later. Sure enough, when Bei Yunj and the others entered the venue, a tall figure appeared. Qin Yu's eyes were sharp and he saw Huashidu immediately. Master Du, here. Hearing this, Huashidu looked towards Qin Yu. However, he did not expect that other than him, there would be someone else holding a parent-teacher conference for Bei Yunj. Moreover, there was more than one. However, Huashidu didn't think too much about it and walked towards Bei Yunj. At the same time, many people's gazes fell on Huashidu. She originally thought that the 3 brothers of the Qin family were already eye-catching enough, but she didn't expect another godlike man to appear. The handsome man was also dressed in formal wear, but his eyebrows were clear and noble. He had wide shoulders and a narrow waist, and his legs were slender and excessively ascetic. His casual and lazy appearance was still impossible to ignore. I'm gone. What kind of exquisite man is this? Is this also Bei Yunj's brother? Sob, 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 How can he be a man who looks exactly like me? I like mature men too much. Compared to the stinky younger brothers in school, who doesn't like a gentle and hormonal older brother? Chapter 257. Stop talking. Whether it's the school hunk or the domineering CEO, they're not ours. With that said, everyone seemed to hear the faint sound of their hearts breaking. Wasn't this too real? At this moment, Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow and turned around quickly. However, she had clearly heard the girls' discussion just now. Seeing that the young lady not far away had suddenly turned her head and did not look at him anymore, Washidu raised his eyebrows and did not say anything. Master Du, aren't you being too diligent? You even came to my sister's parent-teacher conference, Qin Yu said happily. Hearing this, Washidu glanced at him and said carelessly, I didn't expect someone to come either. And there were 3 of them. It's all right. It's not troublesome to have more people. Let's listen together. Qin Yu was very generous. Bei Yunj was controlling her expression very well. Sir, you are. Qin Luyan's gaze had been on Washidu. At this moment, Washidu glanced sideways. His attitude was neither close nor distant. He smirked. Washidu. I've heard a lot about you. So it's President Hua. Qin Luyan was indeed surprised. He did not expect the person in front of him to be the rumored heir of the Hua Corporation. I heard Yunyun mention President Qin. After Washidu finished speaking, Bei Yunj glanced at him in confusion. When had she mentioned Qin Luyan? However, at this moment, when Qin Yu and Qin Lang heard this, their hearts ached inexplicably. Gu had actually mentioned Big Brother, then, did he never mention them? Qin Luyan smiled and chatted casually with Washidu for a while. After that, the 2 of them had no intention of continuing. A row of 5 people sat together in the conference hall. Bei Yunj, who was in the middle, was a little silent. It was only when she felt Washidu's gaze from the side that she leaned closer to Washidu unconsciously and explained softly in his ear. I didn't know they were here either. She knew that this scene was very out of control. We'll talk when we get back. Let's attend the parent-teacher conference first. Bei Yunj was speechless. There was no need to be so serious. Qin Luyan, who had been observing Washidu, also realized that the man's motive seemed to be only for the parent-teacher conference. He could not help but darken his eyes. Brother, why are you looking at Master Du? Qin Yu asked. Qin Luyan turned around. You know him. Gu lives in his house. Qin Yu was stunned for a moment before he quickly spoke up for Washidu. Don't worry. I've known him since high school and I've never seen him fall for anyone. How could there be such a coincidence when an iron tree blossoms? Qin Luyan frowned. He indeed did not see Washidu doing anything inappropriate to Gu. He observed for 10 minutes, and it was mostly Gu who was chatting with him. The man listened attentively, but his eyes were fixed on the PowerPoint slide that was automatically rolling on the screen. The 2 people who were being observed. Brother, do you know my monthly test results? Bei Yunj was considering whether she should let Washidu be mentally prepared. Washidu looked up and chuckled softly. No need. I want to maintain a sense of anticipation. Bei Yunj was speechless. Looking at the usually bright and arrogant little girl who wanted to say something but was hesitating with a complicated expression, Washidu could not help but smile. Brother, I'm afraid you won't be able to accept it, Bei Yunj said honestly. She had to know that she still had to attend the parent-teacher conference. At the very least, she would pass all of them. Yunyun, have some confidence in yourself, the man said slowly. P.S. There are 19 chapters here. Old Sue is continuing to write. You will see 30 chapters before midnight. Be obedient and remember the monthly ticket. Sleep early and good night. Chapter 258. After struggling for a moment, Bai Yunj decided to give up. However, on the other side, Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth when she saw this scene. At first, she thought that Bai Yunj would only embarrass herself at this parent-teacher conference. However, she did not expect Qin Yu to take leave to attend Bai Yunj's parent-teacher conference. And big brother and that man, Zhao Zhao. Did you see that? She's second in the level again. Her results are very stable. Mrs. Qin could not help but laugh, her eyes filled with glee. This should be her daughter. Of course, I can't embarrass Mom. The darkness in Qin Yojiao's eyes dissipated and she smiled at her. The school leaders spoke for more than 10 minutes. Not long after, the top 100 and bottom 100 of the grade ranking were displayed on the screen. However, in order to make things less awkward for the bottom 100 students, the school leaders chose to only show the student surnames and student numbers. Yunyun, you should be the only one with the surname Pei in the entire level, right? The man glanced at the 28th place from the bottom and turned around, his tone cynical. Bai Yunj was speechless. Big brother looks quite sad when he sees it like this. Bai Yunj was speechless. Until the parent-teacher conference ended. The form teacher of class 7 even specially asked Bai Yunj to stay. Student Pei, which brother usually cares more about your studies? I still have something on, so I have to talk to you privately. There's no need for the other parents. The form teacher was also a little guilty. With so many brothers surrounding him, what if they didn't like what he said and hit him directly? With that said, without waiting for the Qin brothers to look forward to it, Bai Yunj looked at Huashidu, her excessively beautiful eyes curved. She reached out and tugged at Huashidu's sleeve. Brother. Seeing this, Qin Yu and Qin Lang could not help but turn red. Her 3 biological brothers were here, but Gu did not choose any of them. However, Qin Luyan's eyes darkened and he glanced at Huashidu. He was selfish and did not want Gu to have too much contact with other men. But now, Gu might not be the same as before. She might not have so many expectations for her big brother. Gu, you want Mr. Hua to be your parent? Qin Luyan pursed his lips and asked gently. Yes. Bai Yunj answered without hesitation. When the 3 brothers heard this, they were silent for a moment and did not say anything else. Thank you, Mr. Hua. Qin Luyan nodded at Huashidu. Huashidu glanced at Bai Yunj and smiled imperceptibly. It's no trouble. When Huashidu entered the office and chatted with the form teacher privately, Bai Yunj leaned against the wall alone. A short while later, Qin Yojiao's voice appeared at an inappropriate time. She held Qin Luyan's hand and smiled. Big brother, let's go eat. Mom said that since I won an award this time, let's go out to eat together. A dark look flashed past Qin Luyan's eyes and he glanced at his watch. He looked up at Qin Yojiao. You don't have to go out to eat. I got someone to prepare it at home. Let's go back to the old mansion together. Hearing this, Qin Yojiao could not suppress the excitement in her eyes. Really? Big brother. It had been a long time since she stayed in the old mansion. However, Big Brother was the most powerful person in the family now. Even the old master would listen to Big Brother a little. Qin Luyan did not answer this question. Instead, he glanced at Qin Yu and Qin Lang and said calmly, you guys can come too. Dad and Mom too. Qin Yu inexplicably felt that something big was about to happen, but it was not easy to figure it out. Chapter 259. After all, eldest brother's temper was unpredictable to begin with. Qin Yu and Qin Lang only left reluctantly after greeting Bai Yunj. On the other hand, Bai Yunj leaned against the wall and knocked on the wall in boredom. You haven't left yet? Lu Yuanci was a little surprised. My brother is having a private conversation inside. Bai Yunj glanced at him. Why didn't your parents come? My parents are overseas. The old madam has something on today, so she didn't come. Hearing this, Bai Yunj nodded. Then you should go back early. The person inside isn't your biological brother, right? Lu Yuanci suddenly asked. Bai Yunj did not intend to hide it. Lu Yuanci's eyes darkened and no one knew what he was thinking. Alright, then you should go back early. I'll get going first. Okay, bye. Bai Yunj waved. Huashidu went in for about half an hour before the door opened. The moment Bai Yunj saw Huashidu come out, she felt an inexplicable sense of guilt. Let's go. I'll take you to eat. Auntie Meow isn't around today. Let's go to the restaurant, Huashidu said. Okay. Bai Yunj followed Huashidu all the way until she got into the car and fastened her seatbelt. She asked calmly, Brother, why aren't you saying anything? The man said slowly, It's brother's first time coming to school to be scolded. I haven't thought of what to say yet. Through the rearview mirror, Huashidu saw Bai Yunj's expression and his thin red lips curled up. Teacher Wen said that Yunyun is very smart, but she doesn't like to study. Yunyun, tell brother why you don't want to study. Is it because of the Qin family? Bai Yunj, no. Then is it because of brother? Bai Yunj's answer was even faster. No. Hearing this, Huashidu chuckled softly again and glanced at the girl beside him lightly. He dragged out his voice. Then do you have to make brother unhappy? Bai Yunj, seeing that the girl had fallen silent, Huashidu suddenly said casually, Yunyun. Bai Yunj looked up at him. Huashidu added, Open the drawer in front of you. Bai Yunj did not hesitate. She turned around and opened the drawer. She found that it was filled with a lot of candy. It's okay if you don't do well. Brother will teach you well. Bai Yunj glanced sideways and saw the man's superior jawline and handsome and noble eyes. His magnetic and lazy chuckle tickled her eardrums. I was just teasing you just now. How can I bully our union like this? Bai Yunj's heart beat faster for some reason. She took a piece of candy and peeled it with her eyes lowered. Brother, do you want some? It's for you. Big brother doesn't eat anything too sweet. At night. Qin family's old residence. 6 people were seated at the round table. Lu Yen, you're finally back. I haven't seen you for a long time. Have you lost weight? Mrs. Qin was very happy tonight. The people he wanted to see were all there, and the people he didn't want to see weren't there. No. Qin Luyan's tone was calm as he said, Mom, I've prepared a few boxes of pearls and diamonds for you. Didn't you want the designer to design them for you last time? Did you hear that? Lu Yan is much more filial than the two of you. Mrs. Qin was overjoyed. Second brother, third brother, and Dad, I've prepared them too. The assistant will bring them over later. Qin Luyan slowly cut the steak and took a sip of red wine. Big brother, what about me? Qin Yu pouted coquettishly, thinking that Qin Luyan wanted to give her a surprise. Chapter 260. Of course you have one too. Qin Luyan glanced at her and suddenly smirked. What did Big Brother prepare for me? Qin Yojiao was excited. Ever since Bai Yunj came out of the mental hospital, second brother, third brother and the rest had never prepared a gift for her. I prepared a household registration certificate for you. Qin Luyan's slow words made Qin Yojiao's face pale. The knife and fork in Mrs. Qin's hand also fell to the ground. Then, she quickly stood up. Luyan, what nonsense are you talking about? At this moment, Qin Yu and Qin Lang sat quietly, looking at Qin Luyan in admiration. As expected of Big Brother. Mom, your daughter can have someone else, but the elder young miss of the Qin family can only be Bai Yunj. Qin Luyan put down the red wine glass and wiped his thin lips. However, this refined and elegant appearance made people's hair stand on end. Within moments, Qin Luyan took the household registration certificate from the side and put on his gold-rimmed glasses. The man was still refined and handsome. His tone was neither fast nor slow, but it was a little unreasonable. After tonight, Miss Qin Yojia will move out of the Qin family. Qin Luyan, how dare you? Mrs. Qin's voice became shrill as she roared angrily. That's not right either. Qin Luyan ignored Mrs. Qin and said with a smile, the name Qin Yojia was prepared for Gu. Although Gu doesn't need it anymore, it shouldn't be yours. Big brother, you've. Qin Yojiao's face paled and she immediately went forward to pull Qin Luyan. Her entire body was trembling as she said with a sobbing tone, Big brother, why did you become like this too? But I didn't do anything. Why are you chasing me away? I can give you the name, but this surname must be changed back, Miss Zhang. Qin Luyan's last 3 words almost made Qin Yojiao's face turn pale. Back then, when Bai Yunj was found, the Qin family had also found her biological father, who was the director of the mental hospital. However, Qin Yojiao despised her biological father for opening a mental hospital and doing illegal things, so she had always been reluctant to go home. In fact, after her biological father was cut by Bai Yunj, Qin Yojiao had never thought of going back to take a look. Big brother, don't do this. Qin Yojiao's makeup was ruined from crying and she was out of breath. I don't want to go back. Can you not make me go back? I will never go against Bai Yunj again. Please. Qin Luyan flung Qin Yojiao's hand away and said coldly, tomorrow morning, everyone will know that Bai Yunj is the only eldest young miss of the Qin family. In his previous life, he had also thought of doting on this little sister of his. But who would have thought that when his leg was broken by that woman back then, Qin Yojiao would run over eagerly and become that woman's good friend. She even helped that woman and forced him to marry her. He wanted him to marry a woman who had ruined the Qin family. What a joke. Qin Luyan restrained the coldness and hostility in his eyes, and the indifference in his eyes returned to normal. But now, everything could be redone. Then, what he wanted to do was to protect Gu, her, and the Qin family. Lu Yan, don't go overboard. Father Qin said in a deep voice. Although he wanted Gu, to come back, he did not want Zhao Zhao to leave either. After leaving the Qin family, Zhao Zhao would definitely suffer a lot. Dad, Mom, I've already bought a manor for the 2 of you in our nation. If you want to go, I'll get someone to send you there tomorrow. Chapter 261. Hearing this, even Qin Yu and Qin Lang sucked in a breath of cold air. What was eldest brother doing? Forcing her to abdicate. If Mr. and Mrs. Qin did not let Qin Yojiao leave, he would send these 2 people overseas directly. This was too ruthless. He was indeed the man who Grandpa had said was the most capable of inheriting the family business. Seeing this, Qin Yu and Qin Lang felt a refreshing wind blow from their tailbones to the back of their heads. They felt refreshed. It was a pity that they could not record this exciting scene. Qin Luyan, what do you mean? Are you going against the heavens? Mrs. Qin looked at him in disbelief. Qin Luyan did not have much emotion. He had probably guessed that Mrs. Qin would be like this. He chuckled. If you say so, then so be it. Luyen, there are some things that you have to think carefully. Is what you're doing really right? Mr. Qin said in a low voice. Dad, don't worry. I will never regret what I've done in this life. Qin Luyen smirked at him. Then, the father and son looked at each other. One had a complicated gaze while the other was calm. The night was rainy. Qin Luyen looked at the girl in front of him. She was crying so hard that she could not breathe, but there was no pity in his eyes. I've already gotten someone to change your school record. From now on, you have nothing to do with our Qin family. Eldest brother, I'm begging you. Can you not chase me away? I'm not the eldest young miss of the Qin family. Please let me stay, okay? Qin Yojiao grabbed Qin Luyen's hand and begged. She was drenched and looked disheveled, her eyes filled with tears. However, looking at this scene, Qin Luyen chuckled. This scene was too familiar. In his previous life, when Gu was seriously ill, he had also climbed down from the wheelchair on this rainy day and knelt down to beg this woman, hoping that she could give some medical fees to save Gu. But in the end, she broke that bank card in front of him. She leaned in front of him and smiled. Eldest brother, even if you're not my eldest brother now, I won't give it to anyone else even if I'm ruined. Do you understand? Qin Luyen lifted her chin, but his black eyes were filled with coldness. His smiling voice made one shiver. Qin Yojiao, I didn't kill you because I had my reservations. Is that clear? After saying this, Qin Yojiao looked into Qin Luyen's cold eyes and the coldness spread to her bones unconsciously. She shuddered. Big Brother had never looked at her like that before, such a big brother was too terrifying. The next day, another explosive piece of news came from the Qin clan, shocking everyone. Qin Yojiao, who was doted on by the Qin family, was actually not Mr. Qin and Mrs. Qin's biological daughter. Instead, he had been swapped with someone else back then. That was why Qin Yojiao had been occupying her place for so many years. She enjoyed all the rights that belonged to Bai Yunj. When this news came out, many people thought it was fake news. However, they soon realized that the person who had sent the application was the Qin Corporation. If that was the case, then wasn't Qin Yojiao's condescending Bai Yunj too disgusting? She ate someone else's food, used someone else's things, and even took over someone else's parents and brother for almost 20 years. She actually had the cheek to pretend to be aggrieved. What kind of pretentious white lotus was this? However, what was even more confusing was Mrs. Qin's statement of severing ties back then. What was wrong with doting on a fake daughter and abandoning her biological daughter? Chapter 262. Perhaps because the news this time was too sensational, the popularity of the topic remained high. It was at the top of the list for the entire day. The netizens were also discussing. What is the Qin family doing? It's all about their family every day. It can't be, it can't be, it can't be, our beloved little Princess Qin is actually a fake daughter, heartbroken. Then didn't that little celebrity who was so arrogant and said that she was Qin Yojiao's best friend suffer a huge loss? She offended the real young lady. Isn't this her fate of being frozen? As someone in the industry exposed that the company Qin Yojiao is in can't do it anymore. It will definitely go bankrupt in 3 months. This comment is proof. No wonder the Qin brothers are so protective of Bai Yunj. How can they not protect their biological sister? The real young lady's life is really good. She's not in the Qin family and is still Director Lin's daughter. Even if she's not their biological daughter, she's still a daughter they've raised for almost 20 years. The Qin family is too tasteless. Arrange it for me. I want the analysis upstairs. Contrarian Research Institute. Because of this incident, more than half of Qin Yojiao's fans had left. After all, Qin Youjiao had become popular because of her fair and rich beauty. But now, the Qin family had personally criticized her for not being the Qin family's eldest young lady, so many fans could not accept it. Especially the storm of Qin Youjiao mentioning Bai Yunj in the live stream. This was not over yet. The next day, this matter was also spreading like wildfire in Hengda High School. Even the girls who usually played well with Qin Youjiao started to talk bad about her. Even Ling Jiwei, who was in the same class as Bai Yunj, did not look too good. She never thought that Bai Yunj was the real eldest young lady of the Qin family and Qin Youjiao was actually an imposter. All these years, she was actually trying to please a fake young lady of the Qin family. There were many people who had the same thoughts as Ling Jiwei. However, because of this matter, many people gradually understood that Bai Yunj was really not to be offended. Master Pei, let's go to the canteen for lunch. Chu Zhixing lost weight very quickly. This was probably because Lu Yuanci often dragged him to play basketball with him. One could vaguely see the heroic spirit in his eyes. Alright. Bai Yunj was not in a good mood. She went to the cafeteria with Chu Zhixing and Lu Yuanci. But what he didn't expect was, at this time, someone actually came to find trouble with her. Qing Zihuai held Qin Youjiao's hand and walked in front of her with a dark expression. Bai Yunj, you should have some self-awareness. Even if you are the eldest daughter of the Qin family, no one will think that you are very powerful. Qing Zihuai sneered. You were just born into a good family. Other than that, how can you compare to Zhao Zhao? Bai Yunj's appetite, which was already not very good at noon, became even worse. She suddenly laughed, her eyes bright and flamboyant. Bai Yunj looked up slowly, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. He patiently said playfully, Student Qing, can you get lost? As soon as he finished speaking, everyone present couldn't help but gasp. Qing Zihuai was the most handsome boy in Hengda and also the most outstanding senior in the third year of high school. Even Lu Yuanci had never spoken to Qing Zihuai like this before. Bai Yunj, you. Qing Zihuai's expression darkened. Qing Zihuai, as a man, are you looking for trouble with girls whenever you have problems? Lu Yuanci interrupted. Qing Zihuai's eyes swept over Lu Yuanci coldly before they landed on Bai Yunj. He laughed coldly. No wonder you're so powerful. So you found a helper. Chapter 263. With that said, he glanced at everyone again, as if what he said to Bai Yunj just now was also said to everyone. Qin Youjiao is my fiancé. This matter has been decided a long time ago. I also want to know who wants to go against the Qing family. With that said, the thoughts of many people who wanted to ridicule Qin Youjiao immediately dissipated. They almost forgot that Qin Youjiao and Qing Zihuai had such a good relationship. Even if she wasn't the Qin family's young lady, she would still be the young madam of the Qing family in the future. Indeed, they could not offend her. However, at this moment, Bai Yunj suddenly laughed and stood up slowly. This scene made Lu Yuanci's eyelid twitch and he had a bad feeling. Yunj, you. Before Lu Yuanci could finish speaking, he saw Bai Yunj walking in front of Qing Zihuai slowly. Bai Yunj, what else do you have to pretend for? Qing Zihuai snorted disdainfully. Haven't you always been jealous of Zhao Zhao and think that Zhao Zhao stole something from you? Why don't you see if you're worthy of being with Jiajia? Before he could finish speaking, before everyone could react, they saw Qing Zihuai being thrown over his shoulder by Bai Yunj. Why are you so arrogant in front of me? Bai Yunj's beautiful and charming eyes were filled with uncontrollable ruthlessness as she spoke with a smile. At this moment, the scalps of those who saw this turned numb. Fortunately, they did not go and provoke Bai Yunj back then. He had actually dealt with Qing Zihuai in front of so many people, big boss. She was really a big boss. Not to mention the others, even Lu Yuanci, who was sitting not far away, dropped his chopsticks in shock. Lu Yuanci was perplexed. Why was his deskmate so wild? Suddenly, Qing Zihuai's furious voice sounded. Bei Yunj. He was actually beaten up by a girl in front of so many people in school. This girl was Bei Yunj. Without giving him a chance to stand up, Bei Yunj stepped on Qing Zihuai's chest ruthlessly and rubbed it carelessly. Qing Zihuai's face turned pale from the pain and he almost shouted out loud. Her bright eyes were full of impudence as she laughed again. To be honest, I've wanted to do this for a long time, student Qing. If it weren't for the parent-teacher conference yesterday, she would have smashed the chair on Qing Zihuai's head. At this moment. Seeing this, Qin Youjiao's legs still turned weak. She did not expect Bei Yunj to hit her. This woman even dared to teach Qing Zihuai a lesson, let alone her, so, don't look for trouble with me for no reason. Bei Yunj's red lips curled into a smile. She bent down slightly, but the smile did not reach her eyes. Otherwise, I'll be stepping on your head next time. After that. Just as Qing Zihuai felt that his bones were about to break, Bei Yunj suddenly lifted her leg. She turned to pick up her plate and asked lazily, "Are you guys going to continue eating?" Chu Zhixing and Lu Yuanci reacted and shook their heads frantically. If he didn't leave now and the teacher on duty saw him, this ancestor would enter the principal's office again. After Bei Yunj left, Qing Zihuai's expression was terrible and the people around him did not dare to look at him. "Zihuai, are you okay?" Qin Youjiao went forward and asked with concern. Qing Zihuai did not care that Qin Youjiao had watched him being taught a lesson just now. After all, Qin Youjiao was just an ordinary girl. She was probably shocked as well. "I'll make her pay the price sooner or later." Qing Zihuai's face was almost livid as he gritted his teeth and said this. "Master Pei, isn't your temper too bad today?" Chapter 264. Lu Yuanci could not help teasing. At this moment, he could not help but remember the first time he met Bei Yunj. It seemed like Bei Yunj had saved him some face back then, otherwise, if he was beaten up in the canteen, he would probably be depressed for a week. "Really?" Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. Lu Yuanci immediately said honestly, "This morning, when I saw you sitting, I didn't even dare to ask you to move when I got into my seat." This morning, even the corners of Bei Yunj's eyes were slightly cold and the atmosphere was inexplicably low. Unfortunately, Qing Zihuai's eyes were on his head and he still threw himself at the gun. Bei Yunj was speechless. She did not notice this. This morning, when she heard Huashidu say that she would go to his office to do her homework from Friday to Sunday, she was a little resistant. However, she did not expect even Lu Yuanci to notice it. Bei Yunj recalled that when that man sent her to school this morning, he had even scratched her chin and smiled seductively. "Why are you so happy to do your homework in brother's office? Why are your ears red?" Bei Yunj was speechless. This man was indeed lying to her. After school, Qin Youjiao had just left when she heard a voice beside her. "Jiao Jiao." Qin Youjiao looked up instinctively. When she saw Mrs. Qin, she immediately ran over and hugged her, crying uncontrollably. "Mom, are you the only one who still wants me at home?" Qin Youjiao choked. "It's not convenient for your father to come over either. After all, your older brother." Mrs. Qin's expression did not look too good either. She did not expect Qin Luyan to be so ruthless the moment he returned. "Mom, then can't I go home in the future?" Qin Youjiao was really afraid that she would return to her original family. "Jiao Jiao, don't be afraid. Mom is here. I won't let anyone bully you." With that said, Mrs. Qin took out a key and a bank card. This is the residence your father bought previously. Jiao Jiao, you can stay there. Although Mom can't accompany you, I won't let Jiao Jiao suffer. And this card has 6 million yuan. You can't move too much for the time being. I'm afraid your older brother will find out. Hearing this, Qin Youjiao hated Bai Yunj even more. Why did Bai Yunj come back? Why did she have to lose everything she had for so many years? Mom, do I have to live outside in the future? Qin Youjiao's eyes reddened. It was only now that Mrs. Qin realized that Qin Luyan was the most similar to Old Master Qin. In the past, Old Master Qin refused to let Qin Youjiao stay in the old manor. Now, Qin Luyan refused to let Qin Youjiao go home. Everyone was comparing Jiao Jiao to a dead end. Mrs. Qin caressed Qin Youjiao lovingly as a dark look flashed past her eyes. Jiao Jiao, as long as you become more outstanding, Mom will have a way to make you come back. Besides, I've already talked to Madam Qing about your engagement with CY. The Qing family will not allow their daughter-in-law to not have a beautiful background. When she heard that, a dark glint flashed through Qin Youjiao's eyes as she relaxed slightly. As long as Mother Qin didn't give up on her, she still had a chance to go back. Bai Yunj. She didn't believe that she couldn't drag this trash down. Huo Corporation. In the CEO's office. Bai Yunj saw a small figure sitting obediently on the sofa. Momo. Momo looked up and her eyes lit up when she saw Bai Yunj. Sister. Momo put down her pen and ran over to hug Bai Yunj's thigh, saying in a childish voice, Sister, are you here to do your homework too? Chapter 265. Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched. She glanced at the man who was working and led Momo to the sofa. The two of them, one big and one small, sat at the coffee table. Each of them had a bottle of milk, a homework book, and a pen. The scene was inexplicably adorable. However, Huashidu seemed to be very busy today and did not look up at them. After a while, Mo asked softly, Sister, when Grandma and I went to Brother's house last time, were you hiding in Brother's closet? Bai Yunj's fingers paused. Yes. Was Sister playing hide and seek? Then where was Brother hiding? Mo was even more curious. Sister forgot. Bai Yunj's eyes curved and she quickly changed the topic. Momo, why are you here to do your homework today? Because Grandma went out to play. Mo and Alas have to stay at Brother's place for the night. Mo was initially unwilling, but when he thought about how Bai Yunj was staying at Huashidu's place, he quickly agreed. I see. Bai Yunj raised her eyebrows. Suddenly, not far away, the man's casual voice sounded. Mo, if you continue to affect your sister's studies, Alas will have to stay on the streets. Bai Yunj, Mo immediately covered his mouth and looked at Huashidu accusingly. Brother was not talking to him, and he was not letting him talk to sister. Mo was unhappy, but he did not dare to disobey his brother. He could only puff up his cheeks angrily. In the evening, Bai Yunj took advantage of the time when Huashidu was in a meeting to take out her iPad when her phone suddenly rang. She glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was Yu Manran calling. She quickly picked it up. What's wrong? As soon as Bai Yunj finished speaking, she heard loud music on the other end of the phone, mixed with a woman's excited scream. Yu Manran was at a bar. Come to Muse. Yu Manran was a little excited. Bai Yunj quietly turned on her iPad and continued to browse through the documents. She said lazily, Spare me, I just finished a parent-teacher conference. Before she could finish her sentence, Bai Yunj suddenly heard an ear-piercing scream. It seemed that something had happened. Yu Manran. Bei Yunj was just about to ask when the phone was hung up. What was going on? Bei Yunj frowned and tapped the coffee table twice with his fingertips. He was still worried that something would happen to Manran. Mo, when Big Brother comes back later, help me pass a message. Tell him that Big Sister went to find a friend, okay? Bei Yunj looked at Mo, okay, sister, be careful, Mo replied. She cupped her cheeks in boredom, looking dazed and cute. Bei Yunj couldn't help but smile and kiss Mo before leaving. Muse. Big sister man, calm down. How are you going to explain later if you tricked that ancestor into coming here? The manager's head was about to explode. How could there be such a difficult artist to manage? Manran burped. He was completely drunk, but his eyes were very fierce. No. I asked Gu to come here to avenge me. The manager looked at the table full of money that Manran had lost and couldn't help but twitch his eyelids. Ha! Make sure that ancestor doesn't come here to take your life first, okay? After finding out that Bei Yunj was the real daughter of the Qin family, the manager was even more certain that Bei Yunj was not someone to be trifled with. In the end, Manran was like an idiot. He lost a game of cards and insisted on getting Bei Yunj to come here. Wasn't he afraid that Bei Yunj would come here to beat him up instead of playing cards? Chapter 266. Manran burped again and walked unsteadily to the card table. Sister man, it's just a game of cards. You don't have to go that far. The rich second-generation heirs who had known Manran for a long time were at a loss for words. Who knew that Manran would be so stubborn when he was drunk and insist on winning? How long had he been dragging them into this game? Wait for my Gu to come. We will definitely win back our losses. Manran said as he burped. He looked drunk. This made the rich second-generation heirs a little interested in Bei Yunj. Who was Manran? She was a famous arrogant lady in the entertainment circle. How could she be so obedient? However, half an hour later, Bei Yunj arrived. When she saw the drunk Manran sitting at the card table, the corners of her eyes couldn't help but twitch. She had thought that something had happened to this person. Manran. Suddenly, a clear and melodious voice sounded. This leisurely tone inexplicably made the manager shudder. However, Manran was completely unaware. The moment he heard Bei Yunj's voice, he pounced forward and hugged Bei Yunj. Gu Save me. Bei Yunj's eyelids twitched. She pried Manran open little by little and asked lazily, "What's wrong?" At this moment, several rich second-generation heirs who were playing cards saw Bei Yunj's face clearly and a trace of surprise flashed past their eyes. Which family did this lady come from? She was so beautiful that she was eye-catching. Not long after, Bei Yunj realized that when Manran said save her, he meant save her table's luck. A few minutes later, Bei Yunj sat on Manran's seat and leisurely won back what Manran had lost. The three rich second-generation heirs lost so badly that they started to doubt their lives. Where did Manran find this person? Wasn't this too cruel? After winning everything back, Bei Yunj quickly stood up and said, "Okay, I still have something to do. I have to go back. Gu why don't you play for a while more?" Manran held on to Bei Yunj's arm and said coquettishly. No. Bei Yunj glanced at her and couldn't be bothered to argue with the drunkard. However, when Manran heard this, he suddenly whispered, "Gu don't tell me you're in love." Bei Yunj paused for a moment and looked at her leisurely. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not spouting nonsense. Something must have happened if you're in such a hurry to go back. After Manran finished speaking, a glint flashed across her eyes. She chuckled inexplicably and moved closer to Bei Yunj's ear. Why don't you try it secretly next time? There was an ambiguous meaning in his words. Bei Yunj quickly understood what Yu Manran was implying. What do you want me to try? Yu Manran said, the easiest ways to test your feelings are holding hands, kissing, and making love. After speaking, Yu Manran smiled meaningfully. Forget about the last one. Gu is still so young. It looks like you've really drunk too much. Bei Yunj looked at her and laughed leisurely again. Yu Manran, who had drunk too much, was indeed bold. Her instincts told her that something must have happened to Bei Yunj. Hence, Yu Manran used all kinds of methods to make Bei Yunj continue to play cards a few more times. He wanted to see if Bei Yunj, who was in a relationship with Bei Yunj, would take the initiative to look for Bei Yunj. But to Bei Yunj, this card game was just like the homework she had done in the office just now. There was nothing that could pique her interest. But perhaps it was because of what Yu Manran had said just now that she suddenly remembered the scene in the closet with Washidu. She couldn't tell if she was nervous at that time or if her heart was really beating faster. Chapter 267. At this moment, Washidu had just finished his meeting when he realized that the little one was missing. Where's your sister? Washidu squatted on one knee and looked at Mo, held his cheeks with both hands and tilted his head. His homework was placed far away. Sister went to look for a friend. Look for a friend? Washidu raised his eyebrows slightly. He had never paid attention to this little guy's social circle. Did she say when she would be back? Mo shook his head and explained on behalf of Bei Yunj. Sister left in a hurry. However, suddenly, Yu Hanran made a phone call. What's the matter? Washidu's tone was casual as he walked towards his desk. Ha ha ha, Master Du, you're not good at managing the family. Our sister even went to Muse. Yu Hanran gloated. The moment he heard the news, he called. How did you know? Washidu stopped in his tracks and asked unhurriedly. I saw that you were in a hurry to look for her the last time. I told my subordinates to inform me if our sister goes again in the future. Yu Hanran teased, has our sister been led astray? What should we do? Immediately. Before he could finish speaking, the call was hung up. Yu Hanran. Wasn't this man too heartless? Throwing him away after using him. Muse Bar. The three rich second-generation heirs could not help but feel their hearts ache as they watched the chips in their hands decrease. Yu Manran, this woman, actually found such a strong external helper. They looked at the baby-faced girl beside them who secretly handed Bei Yunj a fruit plate and got Bei Yunj to go easy on her. The other two. There was such an open back door. Soon. Yu Manran saw the two angry and distorted faces and gradually calmed down. One of them even silently reached into his pocket and took out a cigarette box. Yu Manran immediately interrupted, Feng Fei, Gu is still a high middle school student. Before he could finish speaking, he stopped abruptly. Bei Yunj, who was playing cards, did not notice a pair of bony hands behind him. He casually took a lollipop from the table next to him. Then, he brought it to her lips. Bei Yunj subconsciously bit the candy when she smelled the faint scent of lychee. But a moment later, he felt a pleasant and familiar cold fragrance around him. Bei Yunj, the next moment. Bei Yunj slowly turned her head and looked into the man's pale eyes. Brother, Bei Yunj had just opened her mouth when the man reached out and casually held the candy stick. His low, magnetic, and languid voice sounded softly. Bite it, Yunyun. These words caused people's imaginations to run wild, causing their faces to blush and their hearts to race. Especially when he saw the person's face clearly, his heart beat even faster. Only Yumanran saw clearly that the man who came was actually Hwashidu. He was so scared that he woke up. Master. Master Du. Yumanran's brain froze. She never thought that the person she thought would be related to Gu was actually this person. Wasn't this person famous for not getting close to women? Oh, this was true. She had personally experienced it. Back then, old Madame Hua had randomly matched Yumanran. When she saw that Hwashidu was indifferent to everyone, she even had designs on Yumanran. After all, the Hua family and the Yu family had always been on good terms. But how could Yumanran have the guts to do that? No matter how good-looking or how powerful he wasn't someone she could get her hands on, all right. Hence, when Yumanran heard the news that night, she immediately got a boyfriend to save her life. Chapter 268. The man's nonchalant gaze landed on her. Are you Union's friend? Yumanran braced himself. Yes. She had gone overboard. If she had known that the person who had a relationship with Gu was Master Du, she wouldn't have dared to pull Bei Yunj out. Then, before Hwashidu could speak, Yumanran took the initiative to admit her mistake. I'm sorry, Master Du, I drank too much. I didn't know about Union's relationship with you. As soon as she finished speaking, Yumanran hurriedly picked up her high heels and ran out barefooted as if she didn't care about her life. Everyone. When this scene landed in the eyes of the others, the atmosphere became more and more oppressive. Fortunately, Hwashidu only glanced at them. In the end, his gaze landed on Bei Yunj. There was a faint smile in his eyes. Yun, she's gone. Do you still want to continue playing? Bei Yunj immediately shook her head. Let's go home. She almost forgot that Hwashidu and Yumanran knew each other, so he should also know Yumanran. On the way, Bei Yunj followed Hwashidu very quietly. After all, the parent-teacher conference had just been held last week, and now she was caught at a bar. Bei Yunj looked up and saw that the man in front of her really did not intend to pay attention to her. She quickly walked forward. Brother. Yes. Hwashidu opened the car door and waited for Bei Yunj to get in before returning to the driver's seat. Although Bei Yunj saw that he looked relaxed, he did not say a word. Actually, I was helping Man win some money just now. Bei Yunj tapped her index finger on the armrest of the car door and explained calmly. Hearing this, Hwashidu finally turned around and glanced at her unhurriedly. He was refined and lazy. Is that so? Then why did I see someone trying to pass you a cigarette? Bei Yunj, ? When did this happen? Suddenly, the image of Hwashidu feeding her candy appeared in Bei Yunj's mind. At that time, the young man behind Hwashidu seemed to be holding a cigarette. She couldn't explain it anymore. After getting out of the car, it was already 9:00 when Hwashidu brought Bei Yunj home. As for Momo, who was still growing, she was asked to go to bed early. Suddenly, Bei Yunj stood in front of Hwashidu and looked up at him with a smile. Brother, I know I was wrong. Can't we make a deal? How can I not be angry? The little girl seemed to be used to this trick. As long as she pretended to be obedient, no one would bear to scold her. The man chuckled casually and raised his eyes. His appearance was light and seductive. He stretched out his hand lazily and gently pushed her forehead with his cold fingers. He said in a lazy and magnetic voice, Yes, brother will be unhappy whenever he sees Yun now. Bei Yunj, ? As Bei Yunj regained her senses, there was a commotion in the living room. When he turned on the lights, he found that Alice was really tearing down the house. Bei Yunj's beautiful eyes moved, and she glanced at the man beside her calmly. A few minutes later, Bae Yunj held the rope and sat in the long corridor outside. The man and the dog were called Punishment. Bae Yunj couldn't help but stroke Alyssa's head and sigh. This man was really hard to coax. However, Bae Yunj had only been sitting for less than 5 minutes when a familiar voice sounded not far away. "Oh, Miss Pei, what's going on? Why are you outside in the wind?" Yu Hanran asked deliberately. "P.S. This article is the most sadistic, Punishment. I've finished updating today. From tomorrow onwards, I'll update at least 6 times and normally 8 times. I'll update once my monthly votes reach 150. Good night." Chapter 269. Bae Yunj glanced at him coldly. Then Yu Hanran pretended to be surprised. "Why? Don't tell me you didn't return home at night and cheated on Master Du." Bae Yunj sneered. If President Yu was so concerned about the company's market value wouldn't have fallen to second place. Yu Hanran was speechless. This little girl was really vicious. "Then why did you go to Muse?" Yu Hanran asked without hesitation. The next moment, Bae Yunj's eyes were cold. "How did President Yu know that I went to Muse?" Yu Hanran reacted abruptly and accidentally met Bae Yunj's eyes. At this moment, it was useless to explain. Well, Yu Hanran forced a smile on his face. "What's the hurry? Won't you know when you go in?" At this moment, Bae Yunj was not angry and smiled slowly. This situation inexplicably gave Yu Hanran a bad premonition. In the living room, the man stood by the French window. It was as if he was not looking at the beautiful plants outside, but at the girl sitting by the long corridor. "Master Du, what's wrong with your girl? Is she standing at the door as punishment?" Yu Hanran's tone was casual. He had just received Washidu's call and rushed over impatiently. He said again, "This method of education won't work." "It won't work, so President Yu, take care of your sister." The man retracted his gaze and his tone inexplicably made Yu Hanran's back turn cold. Yu Hanran was speechless. What did he mean? Washidu was not a busybody. Even if Yu Manran was reckless, Washidu might not be able to say a word. After thinking for a moment, Yu Hanran's mind suddenly cleared. He thought of Bae Yunj's specious words and suddenly had a bad thought. He took a deep breath without batting an eyelid. "Was it Man who brought your eldest daughter there?" Washidu did not speak, but his gaze was enough to explain everything. "Well, Master Du, Yu Hanran began to stutter. He didn't expect that he had reported his own sister. "I heard that President Yu has a conscience. How could he come in when he saw the young lady standing outside?" The man took out a cigarette from the cigarette box and put it between his thin lips casually. As soon as he finished speaking, Yu Hanran suddenly understood what Washidu meant. Was she blaming him for not bringing Bae Yunj in? Yu Hanran, Master Du called him over just to let him bring the little girl in. Did Bae Yunj and that Alaskan Malamute have been sitting outside for more than 10 minutes? Was he a tool? Master Du, are you feeling sorry for her? Yu Hanran put on a fake smile and suddenly regretted having such a childhood friend. Although I feel sorry for her, the little girl still needs to learn a lesson. The man held a cigarette between his fingers, his posture casual. Hearing this, Yu Hanran felt like he was going to die from anger. What kind of lesson was this? Bae Yunj going out for a few minutes was considered a lesson? Back then, the CEOs of the corporations who had been taught a lesson by the whole corporation all sat on the rooftop, okay? Wasn't Master Du doting on this little girl too much? Although he was jealous, Yu Hanran still called Bae Yunj in. Bae-yeonj glanced at the man on the sofa. Brother. Hwashidu put out the cigarette between his fingers and looked at her without averting his gaze. Since President Yu has spoken, you should go to bed first. Chapter 270. Yu Hanran was perplexed. Ha ha ha, your words are really interesting. Thank you, Brother President Yu. Bae-yeonj's tone was so obedient that she didn't seem like the person who had insulted him outside just now. Yu Hanran was speechless. Neither of them was a good person. Good night, brother. Bae-yeonj suddenly smiled at Hwashidu and went upstairs with a lass. After Bae-yeonj left. Before Yu Hanran could react, the man beside him glanced at him. Why aren't you leaving? Yu Hanran was speechless. Listen, was this something a person should say? Did he really call him over in the middle of the night just to bring Bae-yeonj into the house? The next day, Yu Manran called early in the morning to ask about her. Gu-er, are you okay? Yu Manran was a little nervous. She hadn't slept last night. She felt that she was a little weak in front of Master Du, but she really couldn't be strong. Thanks to you, I'm still alive, Bae-yeonj said slowly. Yu Manran explained, sob, I'm sorry, Gu-er. I was too afraid of Master Du, don't ask me to go to a bar next time. Bae-yeonj didn't care about this and comforted her casually before hanging up. Monday. Hengda High School. News had also spread in school that Chin Yo-jiao had taken a month's leave to go on a piano concert tour. F***ck, she's still in the mood to tour. She's too strong. What are you worried about? She still has the Ching family behind her. It's not like you haven't seen how much Mrs. Ching liked Chin Yo-jiao during the parent-teacher conference in year 3. But isn't this because she's the eldest young lady of the Chin family? Now, the Chin family has chased her out. How can that be? Bae-yeonj only has a status, but in terms of talent and knowledge, Chin Yo-jiao has a lot to be proud of. I heard that the watch on Chin Yo-jiao's wrist was changed again. It's worth more than 5 million yuan. If she was chased out, would she still be in this state? That's true. I don't know what happened to the Chin family, but they suddenly caused such a commotion. If it were me, I'd rather keep Chin Yo-jiao. After all, Chin Yo-jiao is indeed outstanding and can make the family proud. Master Pei, what's going on? Chin Yo-jiao hasn't left yet. Chu Zhixing furrowed his eyebrows. From the beginning, when Bae-yeonj came to Hengda, the rumors about Bae-yeonj in the school had never been good. And in the entire school, other than Chin Yo-jiao, who else would deliberately find trouble with Bae-yeonj? I don't know. Bae-yeonj raised her eyebrows, unscrewed the bottle cap, and drank it. She had never asked about the Chin family. However, the only reason Chin Yo-jiao could continue to maintain her elder young miss image was because of Mrs. Chin's help. What's wrong with the Chin family? You're the real daughter. Why do you care about that fake daughter? Chu Zhixing couldn't help but curse. However, when he came to his senses, he suddenly realized that Bae-yeonj was also a member of the Chin family. He had also scolded Master Pei, Bae-yeonj chuckled. You don't have to treat me as a member of the Chin family. Hearing this, Chu Zhixing froze. Only then did he understand why Bae-yeonj had never explained her identity to anyone. She had never treated herself as a member of the Chin family, so why did she have to explain herself? After school. The moment Bae-yeonj left the school, she saw Chin Luyen not far away. He was wearing a dark gray suit and looked extraordinarily handsome as his dark eyes glanced at her. Gu-er. Chin Luyen quickly strode towards her. What's wrong? I didn't wait for Gu-er to return to the old mansion, so I came to give you a present. Chapter 271. There's no need. Bei Yunji's eyes moved as she remembered the message Qin Luyan had sent her before. So he really bought it for her. You don't like it? Qin Luyan's eyes darkened. Or does Gu or not like brother's gift? The gift is too expensive. Bei Yunji's eyes were clear, but her tone was faint and distant. Qin Luyan's hand that was holding the gift caressed the gift box slightly, the smile on his lips gentle. Gu, do you hate brother a lot? Bei Yunji did not understand why these people from the Qin family were so abnormal and started to treat her so well. Seeing that Bei Yunji did not speak for a long time, Qin Luyan's lips suddenly curled up and his low voice was filled with laughter. Then you don't hate me anymore. Bei Yunji was perplexed. Then accompany brother to visit grandpa. Qin Luyan's words caught what Bei Yunji was concerned about. Okay. Bei Yunji thought that she had not visited the old master yet and nodded. Seeing this, the smile on Qin Luyan's lips lifted imperceptibly. His gaze that swept over Bei Yunji was filled with gentleness. In the hospital. After the old master's surgery, his condition was slowly recovering. However, in the past 2 days, he had also heard Mrs. Qin crying and complaining about how Qin Luyan had chased Qin Youjiao away from the Qin family. Old Master Qin's eyelids twitched. Luyan, did you really chase Youjiao away from the Qin family? Qin Luyan peeled an apple slowly. She shouldn't have stayed. Old Master Qin did not know what to say for a moment. This grandson of his had the weakest sense of blood ties and seemed to do everything according to his mood. However, he did not expect Qin Luyan to be able to do something as disgraceful as sending his parents overseas just to get rid of Qin Youjiao. 2 days ago, your mother cried here for the entire afternoon. Those who don't know might think that I'm gone. The corners of old Master Qin's lips twitched. If Grandpa doesn't like it, I can still send her overseas, Qin Luyan said calmly. These words sounded as if they were discussing how the weather was today. No need, no need. Even old Master Qin was inexplicably afraid of his grandson. Back when he had chosen Qin Luyan as the heir, he could also see that Qin Luyan had the courage to govern the Qin clan. However, he did not expect Qin Luyan's current methods to be even more ruthless. He could not figure out Qin Luyan's thoughts at all. Aren't you afraid that your mother will hate you and kill herself? Old Master Qin sighed. That's her business. Qin Luyan's tone remained indifferent. After saying this, Bei Yunji had just finished changing the water in the vase and walked in. Gu, you don't have to be so concerned about this. Old Master Qin smiled. He turned around and saw that the apple in Qin Luyan's hand had been peeled. He instinctively reached out to take it. But he didn't expect that. Qin Luyan suddenly stood up and handed the peeled apple to Bei Yunji. Gu, try this apple first. Big brother will peel another one for Grandpa later. Old Master Qin was speechless. Bei Yunji nodded, took the apple and took a bite. It's quite sweet. It's delicious. Hearing this, Qin Luyan's lips curved and he sat back down, picking up another apple slowly. Grandpa, don't be anxious. There's more here. Old Master Qin put on a fake smile and forced himself to maintain his dignity. How am I anxious? That's good. Qin Luyan nodded. Chapter 272. Hearing this, old Master Qin could not catch his breath and looked at Qin Luyan with a terrible expression. This brat was really too vicious. However, what surprised old Master Qin even more was that Qin Luyan was doing this to protect Bei Yunji. A dark look flashed across his eyes and he could not help but heave a sigh of relief. That was good. If Lu Yan could protect Gu, at least Gu would not be bullied in the future. Then, halfway through peeling the apple, Qin Lang suddenly came to visit Old Master. Qin Lang's eyes lit up when he saw Bai Yunj. However, this also made Qin Lian frown quietly. Alright, Old Master, I'm going deaf from your shouting. Old Master Qin rolled his eyes. Are you hungry? Do you want third brother to go downstairs and buy you something? After Qin Lang put down the fruit, he went to Bai Yunj's side. There's no need. Bai Yunj's eyelids twitched. At this moment, Qin Lian watched Qin Lang stick to Bai Yunj as he slowly peeled the apple. It was only when Bai Yunj found an excuse to leave that Qin Lian handed the apple to Old Master Qin and called out to Qin Lang. Qin Lang. What's wrong, brother? Chatted with me for a long time just now and didn't notice you were here. Qin Lang was overjoyed. At this moment, Qin Lian said calmly, come out with me. When Qin Lang heard this, he thought that Qin Lian was going to say something intimate to him and happily followed him out. Seeing this, Old Master Qin could not help but wonder. How can there be such a silly person in my Qin family? Could anything good happen if he was called out by Qin Lian? In the corridor, Qin Lang started to praise his relationship with Bai Yunj again. Qin Lang. Ha! Qin Lang was stunned. Qin Lian smiled, his eyes refined and elegant. He reached out to help him tidy the creases on his clothes. Stop pestering if you don't want to go to S country to dig coal. Qin Lang froze. On the same day, Bai Yunj also made an appointment with Marcus' niece, Jian Shi, to meet at the Computing Institute. At the entrance of the Computing Institute, Jian Shi was stopped without any preparation. Before Jian Shi could contact Bai Yunj, she suddenly saw a familiar figure. Professor C. Look at me, look at me. Jian Shi shouted as she jumped up. Si Qingyan heard a familiar voice and turned around to see Jian Shi standing at the door. Why are you here? Si Qingyan's eyelids twitched as he spoke to Jian Shi indifferently. The reason was that when this young lady first entered the school, she had confessed to Si Qingyan because she felt that Si Qingyan was capable and good-looking. Si Qingyan felt a headache coming on. Was this guy here to look for him again? They even went to the Computing Institute. I'm here to look for my teacher. Upon hearing this, Si Qingyan thought to himself that she was indeed here to look for him. Chapter 273. Because the teachers in school are not very good, Jian Shi said without thinking. Meanwhile, Si Qingyan's mind was filled with this sentence: the teachers in school were not good. Jian Shi saw that Si Qingyan's expression had darkened and immediately explained, you taught very well, but I know everything, so I want to find a more difficult teacher. It's quite difficult for her to teach. Si Qingyan chuckled indifferently. If it was not difficult, could those two interns from our nation's Computing Institute be trained like that? How is it? Is my teacher good? Jian Shi had never seen Bai Yunj before. She liked her crazily just because Bai Yunj had taught her a few lessons. However, what Jian Shi did not expect was that she could understand what Bai Yunj taught because she had taught Tich and Jasmine before. Si Qingyan gave a fake smile. Great, great. Then Professor C, so go and find her yourself. After saying that, Si Qingyan left. Jian Shi. Just as Jian Shi was asking around for directions, Qing Zihuai, who was following up on the project, saw Jian Shi. Who is that person? Qing Zihuai asked. Hearing this, the boy beside her looked at Jian Shi and his eyes lit up. It's our junior from Yun University, Jian Shi. She's the top student in the computing faculty. Moreover, she skipped a grade and was admitted. Qing Zihuai's eyes flickered. He did not expect this girl, who looked younger than him, to be so capable. Is she here for an internship too? Ching Zihui asked. I don't think so. She's heading to building number 3. She might be an intern or student brought by an official member. What do you mean? Ching Zihui frowned. Weren't the interns in the computing institute all taught by teachers? Yeah, it means that an outstanding intern can follow the teacher who chose her in advance. At this point, the boy said mysteriously, I heard that an incredible big boss came to building number 3. She's not even a member of our institute, but she has the treatment of an official member. Moreover, this person is being poached by the superintendent himself. When Ching Zihui heard this, for some reason, he suddenly remembered the person who had rejected him previously. She was also in Cloud City. A dark glint appeared in Ching Zihui's eyes. He clenched his fists and asked calmly, then do you know where this person was dug up from? I don't know. I heard the teachers mention the Computing Institute a few times. Maybe. As soon as he finished speaking, Ching Zihui's heart tightened as his gaze deepened. It was indeed her. At this moment, the boy was still muttering to himself, the big boss is indeed the big boss. 2 top computing institutes are fighting over him. If it were us, we would fight to the death for an intern position. I still have something to do. You can go to the lab first. With that, Ching Zihui chased after Jian Shi. Jian Shi had just found the 3rd building and was about to enter when someone called out to her. Hello, Miss Jian. When Jian Shi heard this, she turned around impatiently. However, when she saw Ching Zihui's face clearly, her heart could not help but race. She was really good-looking. Who are you? Jian Shi coughed lightly and raised her head proudly. I'm an intern here. Miss Jian, are you here to look for a teacher? Why don't I take you there? Ching Zihui pretended not to know that Jian Shi was personally taught by a teacher. Chapter 274. Teaching teacher. Other than me, my teacher only brought 2 interns. Jian Shi added silently. Besides, it's not what you know. Ching Zihui was curious as to why Jian Shi could be chosen by an official member. After all, there were even doctorates among this group of interns. As a 3rd-year high school student, he already had the worst foundation among this batch of interns. Is that so? Ching Zihui smiled gently, but he had other ideas in his heart. Then can I leave Miss Jian's cell phone number? Even if Jian Shi did not know the person from our nation's computing institute, she was still a student taught by an official member. As long as he had a good relationship with Jian Shi, he would definitely have a chance to meet that woman. Ching Zihui's eyes darkened. When he saw that Jian Shi was about to take out her cell phone and save his number, his lips curled up unconsciously. But suddenly, someone called Jian Shi. Ching Zihui happened to see the caller ID. Teacher, his body stiffened and his pupils constricted. It was her. At this moment, Jian Shi saw that Bai Yunj had called and her mood instantly improved. Jian Shi's eyes lit up. Teacher, I'm already downstairs. Bai Yunj leaned lazily against the railing and looked at Ching Zihui, who was still planning to seduce her student. She looked at her watch, her bright eyes wild and playful. She seemed to be doing it on purpose. Yes, I thought teacher had fallen out of favor. Hearing this, Jian Shi felt like she was going to die. My teacher is the cutest in the world. Teacher, I'm coming. Jian Shi did not even look at Ching Zihui as she ran into the building. He could not stop her. At the same time, Ching Zihui's expression turned ugly. He looked at Jian Shi's figure running away and subconsciously looked upstairs. But at this moment, there was no one upstairs. Qing Zihuai's face darkened as he gritted his teeth. That woman would rather accept Jianxi than him. Sooner or later, he would find that woman and make her change her mind. On the 5th floor. Bei Yunj received a call. Miss Pei. Do you still remember me? I'm Delaney. What's the matter? I have a student coming over. Bei Yunj's tone was still indifferent, but at this moment, Delaney was trying to please Bei Yunj. Yes, about our 1 billion. Just when Bei Yunj thought that he was going to bargain, she suddenly heard Delaney say gently, how about another 100 million? Bei Yunj, this was the first time she had seen someone complaining that they didn't bleed enough. Miss Pei, I was too unruly last time. Can this 100 million be considered as our reconciliation fee? Delaney said anxiously. There was a reason for Delaney's exhaustion. The results of Bei Yunj's research were almost out. He never thought that just when he thought that he had been taken advantage of, the other two rival companies would actually look for Marcus and be willing to double the price to buy the rights to use Bei Yunj's project. He hadn't even officially signed the contract yet, and someone was already trying to steal his project. There's no need for that. We'll take whatever we set. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she saw a figure at the door and hung up. As for Delaney, who had been hung up on, his smile froze. Has your teacher always been like this? She doesn't even want to earn money. Delaney could not help but turn to look at Tich. Tich thought for a moment. Dad, have you ever thought that she might not care about this 100 million? Chapter 275. Delaney was silent for a moment before sitting beside Tich again. He patted his shoulder amiably. Learn from your teacher well. When necessary, put in a good word for your father. Tich trembled. This was the first time his father valued him so much. Back then, when he entered the computing institute, Delaney was still crazy about it. He arrogantly said that his son did not need to learn from those old-fashioned people. It was too embarrassing. Now, he was asking his son to get in through the back door. Tich swallowed his saliva. This is quite difficult. Every time during class, he could feel the teacher's mood turn from sunny to gloomy. He and Jasmine were afraid of being scolded. Fortunately, Bei Yunj did not seem to have the habit of scolding people. Difficult? Aren't you the top student in school? Delaney was very unhappy. Suddenly, an excellent idea flashed through his mind. He reached out and touched Tich's head. He was so gentle that it was scary. Son, we men can sacrifice our looks when necessary. Do you understand? If others heard that the young master of the Delaney group had to sacrifice his looks to fight for an opportunity for the group, he would probably be in the headlines for half a month. Tich was so frightened that he almost jumped up. He was so angry that he laughed. Dad, if you don't want to be hunted down by my teacher, please be normal. Jasmine is the best-looking person in our circle. I've never seen him have such thoughts. Jasmine's mother was the most famous movie queen in our nation, and his father was the founder of the first group in the fashion industry. In the industry, he was sought after by countless people. However, in front of his teacher, they were just students who were a little difficult to teach. Delaney was speechless. This brat only had this bit of ambition. Forget it. Learn from your teacher. Just don't make her angry. Delaney rolled her eyes and left angrily. Tich was speechless. At the Computing Institute. You're here. After Bei Yunj hung up the phone, his gaze landed on Jianxi. Jianxi looked at Bei Yunj in front of her and froze when she heard this familiar voice. This was her teacher. Wasn't she too young? When she first heard Bei Yunj's voice, she felt that her teacher should be very young, but she did not expect her to be so young. Teacher, yes. Bei Yunja's red lips curved into a smile as she looked at the person who liked to act coquettishly on the internet. What's the matter? Jian, she looked at Bei Yunja's beautiful eyes, especially those eyes that were smiling at her. For some reason, her heart beat faster. Wasn't he too good-looking? Why didn't Marcus say that her teacher was so good-looking? No, nothing. Teacher, can I come here to teach next time? Jian, she stared straight at Bei Yunj with a fiery gaze. Anything is fine. It depends on your schedule. Bei Yunj sat at the table and asked slowly, who did you see downstairs just now? Jian, she was stunned for a moment before she quickly reacted. Bei Yunj must have seen her greeting Ching Zihuai. I don't know him, but he's quite good-looking. Well, don't bother with people you don't know. Bei Yunj patted the chair next to her and gestured for her to sit down. All right. Jian, she suppressed her excitement and threw her palpitations towards Ching Zihuai to the back of her mind. Teacher, have you graduated? Jian, she could not help but ask. Not yet. Chapter 276. Jian, she continued to ask, which school is it? Hingda, Bei Yunj answered as he did his work. Hearing this, Jian, she regretted it. Why did she skip grades back then? Otherwise, she would not have been classmates with the teacher. Wait. Hengde. Jian, she's smile froze. Some time ago, didn't the school leaders ask her to go to Hengde to help give a speech and teach the third-year students their college entrance examination experience and cheer them on? What's wrong? Bei Yunj turned to look at Jian Shi. Jian, she shook her head frantically and forced a smile. Nothing. No, she could not go. If she went on stage to give a speech and saw Bei Yunj, she would probably be so nervous that she could not speak. As Bei Yunj still had something to talk to Zhong Xinglin about, Bei Yunj asked Jian Shi to go back first. However, Jian Shi did not expect to see Ching Zihuai waiting not far away when she went downstairs. Seeing this, she frowned without batting an eyelid. When she first saw Ching Zihuai, she did not notice that this person seemed to be approaching her with a motive. However, when she thought of what Bei Yunj had said to her, Jian Shi suddenly calmed down. This person was definitely not a good person. Miss Jian. Ching Zihuai saw that Jian Shi pretended not to see him and walked out. He could not help but frown and call out to her. What's the matter? Jian Shi was a little impatient and her gaze was arrogant. It was Ching Zihuai's first time hitting on a girl. He could not help but feel embarrassed. However, a moment later, he clenched his fists and revealed a charming smile. Senior Jian is at Yun University. Then we should meet in a year's time. If you have something to say, you can tell me directly. I still have to go home. Jian, she glanced at her watch with an indifferent attitude. This made Ching Zihuai feel strange. The way Jian she looked at him just now clearly had a good impression of him. Then I'll send you off. It's not safe for a girl to be alone. Ching Zihuai acted very gentlemanly. If it was before, Jian she might have been tempted. But now, she was only on guard. There's no need. My teacher said not to interact with strangers. Jian she smiled at Ching Zihuai and left. This reaction caused Ching Zihuai's face to darken. I say, brother, aren't you too awesome? Instead of working hard in the computing institute, you're flirting with the beloved disciple of a big boss. The boy who usually spoke to Ching Zihuai laughed. How do you know her identity? Ching Zihuai frowned. Did you see that thing in her hand? This is our identity pass. Hers is a deck of cards. Normally, official members would reserve 1 or 2 slots for their students. If nothing goes wrong, Jian she will be able to get it as soon as she arrives today. This means that her teacher dotes on her. listen to Yen. Qing Zihuai felt even more upset as he stared at Jianqi's back. The things that he couldn't get were easily obtained by someone else. Listen to me, don't think too much about it. Jianqi has been a proud daughter of heaven since she was young. For half a month. Qi Niujiao, who did not appear in Hengde, was on the headlines every day. Because of the piano concert tour, not only did she receive praise from well-known pianists in the industry, but the scene of Mrs. Qin and Mrs. Qing presenting flowers on stage was also enviable. Back then, they thought that Qi Niujiao would be in dire straits after being chased out. Who knew that there would be such a scene? You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.